podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, August 29th, 2020. This is episode 1723. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast comes to you from TWiT's LastPass studios. Now, you're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether employees are working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of the Tech Guy is brought to you by Adobe Sign. Business needs to keep moving, whether people are working together or apart. With Adobe Sign, working remote actually works. Learn more about what Adobe Sign can do for your business at adobe.com/businessmoves. And by Manscaped. Manscaped promotes clean hygiene, from shaving your junk to trimming your nails. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com/twit. And by Worldwide Technology. WWT's outcome-based approach to agile software development and engineering delivers values to customers early and often. Are you ready to solve your toughest business challenges with custom software produced at the speed of your business? Visit WWT.com/twit1 and let them make your vision a reality. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yes, it's time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that jazz. Yes. It's your worst nightmare. A geek with his own radio show. Let's talk about technology. 88. I'll try to speak English today. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. So you can reach me toll free from there. If you're outside that area, well, okay. You can do it too. Let's see. How could you do that? You could use Skype Out, right? So Skype Out is a solution that lets you call a phone number from Skype. Or there are other programs that will do this from a voice over internet. And if that phone number is a toll-free number in the U.S., it's my understanding that it shouldn't cost you anything. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. There is a website that's also associated with the show, and I mention this because sometimes you're listening and you're driving around or you're doing something and you don't want, you want to remember it, but you don't want to have to write it down. So you don't have to, because James DeRuvo, our official scribe, is writing this all down for you. He's good. He's very quick on the draw. He'll get everything. So all you have to do is go to techguylabs.com, and there it will be, waiting for you. Nice. techguylabs.com. It's a free website. No need to sign up. No need to do anything, really. Just, just go to techguylabs.com. Okay? Okay. We good? We're good. What happened this week in the world of technology? Let me think. There's one story that just keeps on giving, the gift that keeps on giving. It's the Epic versus Apple battle. The Battle Royale. Epic is a video game company known for a couple of things. One, Fortnite. You know that. If you know any 14-year-olds, you know that game. You might be even play that game. It's a what they call a Battle Royale game. And it's on every platform. I mean, you could play it on your Xbox or your PlayStation. You could play it on your PC or your Mac. You can even play it on your iPhone or your Android phone. And it's free, which is really nice. Thank you, Epic. They do make money on it, a lot of money. They're worth $21 billion because you can also buy things in the game like costumes. Understand, the whole premise of the game is 100 people are dropped in via a flying bus onto an island, and everybody tries to kill everybody else. The last man or woman standing wins the game. That's the whole premise. And there's, there's a lot of stuff. There's weapons all over the island, and there's different places to hide, and there's different ways to play, and you can build fortresses. That's part of the game too. It's a fun game. It is. It's fun. I'm not good at it, but the kids are good at it. Every time I play, I'm the first to go, which kind of takes some of the fun out of it. But the theory is you go, oh, I'm not going to let that happen again, and you play again and again, and then pretty soon you see, well, that guy's got a cool outfit. I'd like to have that outfit. Oh, that'll be 50 cents, $1. Oh, okay, you buy it. Oh, then the other thing that happens when you get schnockered in the game, blasted away by the unicorn machine gun, they do a little taunting dance sometimes, a little dance. And you go, oh, that's funny. Haha. How do you get that dance? I can't do that dance. Oh, that's another $1. Okay, when you buy a dance move. Things like that. It's called in-app purchases, downloadable content. It enhances the game. And it's very lucrative, obviously. The founder of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, has made last year $7 billion on it. So, seven with a B, $7 billion. That's a lot of money. But he wants more. He doesn't like it that when you buy this downloadable content on iPhone or Android phone, Apple or Google respectively take 30%. When you sell something in a store, you don't expect the storekeeper to sell it at costs. They sell it for a markup, and then they keep the markup, and you get the cost. That's how retail works. That's how the game industry worked when you had to buy it in a game store. In fact, usually it's more than 30%. Usually it's half or more. In some ways, the cost was absorbed by the buyer because it would be marked up. A lot of places buy the goods from the retailer, from the manufacturer at the wholesale price. Then they put it on the store shelves at a marked up price, often 100% markup, and they keep the difference. Wholesaler, manufacturer knows that. Retailer knows that. Customer, in many cases, you may or may not, but usually the customer understands there's markup. That's how it works. And that's how it worked in the Apple Store. For a long time, people were happy. They were fine. It was like, well, I don't have to pay for downloads. I get marketing, and the customer, iPhone users like it because, the store keeps out the riffraff, the malware, the bad games, stuff like that. So it seemed like a beneficial arrangement for all involved, I think. Everybody seemed happy. But, trouble in paradise. Number of companies say, well, why does Apple get all this money for nothing? Really, for nothing? Yeah, just for the store, running the store. Why does Apple get all this money for nothing? And I guess there's a case to be made there. You might have noticed you couldn't for a long time. I don't know if you can now buy books in the Kindle app because Amazon said, well, I don't want to, Apple's not doing anything when you buy a book. We host the book. We do the whole thing. So why should Apple get anything? So they won't let you buy the book in the Kindle app. You have to go outside and buy it, and then you can download it in the Kindle app. Same thing with Netflix. You can't subscribe, or can you? Maybe you can now subscribe to Netflix. Apple would like it that, in fact, they enforce this rule that not only, maybe you could buy it somewhere else, like you could buy a book on Amazon's store, but in the app it should say, or you can buy it here, and it has to be the same cost, even though Apple's going to take 30%. It has to be the same cost. You can't offer it for a better price outside the App Store. It's the price of being in the App Store. Epic said, we don't like that. And they knew this would happen. So a couple of weeks ago, they said, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to have a store in there, and we're going to, Facebook just got in trouble with Apple. Because Facebook, they have a Facebook marketplace, right, where maybe a restaurant will offer some food, or a seamstress will offer some, clothing for sale or whatever. And Facebook put a little notice in there. And just so you know, when you set this up, Apple's going to take 30% of the price. So just keep that in mind. That seemed like a fair thing to warn people about, right? Facebook said that. Apple said, you can't tell people that. Secret. Shh. And they wouldn't allow the update to go in the App Store. So Facebook had to take that out. See, Apple doesn't want you to know, I guess. I don't know. Seemed like a fair thing. Anyway, this is why Apple's in a little bit of trouble. They're being investigated by the European Union, Federal Trade Commission. The question is this a monopoly? There's a class action lawsuit. Is this a monopoly? And because the only place you can put an app on your iPhone is in the App Store. That's it. It's a little different on Android. You can download apps from somewhere else, kind of like on your computer. Is this a monopoly? Epic decided to push the question. So they added a feature in the game that said, hey, buy it from us and you have to pay Apple 30%. Apple said no. They took it down. There will be updates to Fortnite I think next week coming up. Marvel characters and stuff. If you're on an iPhone, you won't get it. Apple and Epic in an epic court battle. The judge. Now, here's the other thing. Apple got a little punitive, and they said, well, not only are we going to take that down, we're going to take away your developer license. They did that yesterday. And we're going to take away the developer license for a subsidiary called Epic International, where they make a game engine that hundreds of games use, not just games, but programs use on the iPhone. And that would mean those games could never be updated either. Epic went to court and said, Judge, you got to stop this. The judge said, well, I'm not going to stop Apple from taking your app down or taking away your license. That's in the contract. You agreed to it, so I'm going to let them do that. But I don't think there should be collateral damage to other people who weren't involved in this. So we're not going to let Apple take the developer license for Epic International. We're not going to hurt that. Because those people are just side bystanders. That was a relatively good decision by the judge. It's not over. That's just a temporary ruling until they can have hearings and decide the case. What do you think? Yeah, I go both ways on this. On the one hand, Apple did create this place, this great store, this beautiful mall. And if you want to be on the iPhone, then you have to go through Apple, and Apple's going to take their 30%. On the other hand, some people say it's what they call rent taking, where Apple didn't actually add any value to the Kindle books or the Netflix movies. They just want their, if you're on the iPhone, they want 30% of all transactions, period. Boom. They can say that. And companies don't have to be on the iPhone, right? There's other choices. Apple does not have a monopoly in smartphones. They only have about 50% of the U.S. market. So that's the theory, right? Well, fine. You don't like it, just don't play. But they do have a monopoly on the iPhone, and a lot of people want to be on the iPhone because that is half the market in the U.S. We'd like to be there, but we don't want to give Apple our 30%. What do you think? See, it's a complicated. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the thing occupying the mind of tech people these days. That's what they worry about. We don't. What else are we going to do? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you want to talk high tech, I'd love to talk high tech with you. Ladies and gentlemen, miracle of miracles, she's back for another day of abuse. Kim Schaffer. Kimmy, don't take no Schaffer. The unbreakable phone angel. Hi, Kimmy.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Anything new in your life?
Nope.
Nope, me neither.
Nope, just staying inside. Smoky outside. Can't go outside. Yep.
At least our houses didn't burn down, right?
We're lucky.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Knock on whatever this is. That
fires aren't gone, but they're slowly diminishing. It's still really smoky
30% contained or something.
30%. That seems like not a lot.
No, it doesn't.
Sigh.
Yeah, not much going on this week.
And then there's Louisiana, people's houses just blown away, and Texas, and Laura, named after Professor Laura, our musical director. That must be hard. Was there a Kimmy? Hurricane Kimmy?
Think there has been. I'll look it up, but I don't think there has been.
No. At least now they have man's names as well as women's names, right? They have men's names. So there might be a Hurricane Leo someday.
Which ones are worse, men or women?
Well, it was a little sexist, right? They said, well, hurricane's like a woman, you just never know. And they named it after women. That was a little sexist. I'm glad they put some guys in there. Because there's guys who are just as unpredictable and
yes, there are.
Annoying. Maybe more so. Hey, who should I talk to first?
Let's go to John in Sherman Oaks.
Yes, sir. I mean, ma'am. See, I don't even know. I'm gender blind. Yeah, I don't see.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm human.
You're human. You're a person. Thank you, Kimmy.
Definitely a guy, Leo.
John, you see, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes we get calls, and I don't know, and sometimes you can't tell, and that's fine. I don't.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But you're a fella. What can I do for you, John?
So, Leo, listen, I need some help in putting together a desktop computer. So I am of the opinion that I get the best possible desktop with the best possible components, so it lasts me a long time. And I like Dell computers, XPS. And the one that I currently have right now is about to be 11 years old. Yikes! I know.
You did get the maximum. You worked that guy till it's been on its knees.
That's how I feel. And I feel, well, look, I'm a teacher. And so everything we're doing right now is, through so-called distance learning. And I feel that this thing, when I'm running Zoom and I'm running all of these windows.
Yeah.
And, I feel like noises from the back of my computer that I've never had before. So I'm
once computers start groaning, oy, you fired me up again. Oh, no.
Exactly. And then once I start, shutting things down, like I turn on Zoom, then the computer already starts humming down to its regular hum.
Yeah, it's the fan. It's the fan, yeah. But these things wear out. That's the only thing. Well, in a modern computer, that's the only moving part. Your computer has spinning hard drives still. You'd be benefiting. And, if you liked your Dell XPS, I have the Dell XPS 13, the 2020 edition they came out with in January, and I love it. It's a beautiful computer. I highly recommend it. You want a laptop?
No, a desktop. I'm just a fan of desktop.
Oh, well, you're right, because a desktop is, you can't really upgrade a laptop, but desktops you can upgrade. You can fix things if they go wrong. You can take them out.
I've done things over the years. Yeah. And
you can clean them. In fact, that might be where you're hearing the groaning from. Is the fans might be getting a little dust on them and stuff like that. You could actually probably open it up, but still, 11 years, that's a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate to say I'm due a new computer.
Yeah.
Does the school help you at all with that?
No. They're letting us take our school computers, our desktop school computers home, but then I run into some problems like there's certain things I can't run off.
Yeah,
that I have. So
they're locked down. They're probably as old as your home computer anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not. You're also going to use it for personal use.
Right. So, Leo, I have three things that I wanted to ask you about. My hard drive, my graphics card, and my memory. So, hard drive, obviously, I have to go to a solid state now.
Yeah, you want to go to an SSD. Yeah. Big difference. Big improvement.
So the question is, is it a single or a dual set that they offer? I know that they say that the thinking with dual hard drives is that one is a solid state and the other one is a regular state.
Don't do that. That's the hybrid. And they did that because it was so expensive. It used to be so expensive for SSDs. They thought, well, we'll give you a little SSD, you get some of the benefit of the speed, and we'll move stuff that you use a lot onto that. But they're really little. They're like 64 gigs. It was a bad idea, and it was an interim idea. And because the prices of SSDs have now fallen drastically, it's an old idea you don't need to worry about. Just get a solid state drive.
Okay. So then, if I get a one with 1 terabyte.
Plenty.
Okay, great.
Plenty.
Okay. So there's no need to get a second one where
you would want some external drives for backup. You always have to consider your backup, but internally a terabyte is a lot of storage.
Okay, good. Okay, check. Graphics card. Never on board. Always buy a good graphics card. Question is, even though I might not be editing video and stuff like that, I just have the opinion that the best graphics card is always.
I don't think you need to do that. These days, the Intel graphics have gotten the Iris is pretty darn good. I got to take a break. Hold on. I'll talk to you off the air. Scott Wilkinson, Home Theater Geek, coming up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Honestly, because you're not gaming. Are you doing anything that demands discrete graphics, I guess is the question.
Well, I don't know if this is true, but when I'm zooming and I'm running all of these things, is that considered graphics, Leo, or not?
Yeah, the Zoom will use the graphics card, but you don't need a high-end. You'll spend a lot of money for a high-end graphics card.
Right. I was about to ask.
And honestly, what Intel has done over the years to improve the graphics that come with the Intel chip, the system on a chip. The Iris is their current version, is actually quite good. It's as good as a graphics card was a couple of years ago. So I think for Zoom, it's fine. If you're doing gaming or video editing or 3D design, there are a few things that Photoshop, there are a few things a graphics card will benefit you. But it is a great expense. And honestly, I would say take that money and buy a nicer monitor or a nicer, keyboard or things that you're going to really benefit from. I don't think you're going to see any difference.
So I should stick with the onboard graphics or something?
Yeah, they're
really?
fine. Yeah, you don't need to spend extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will on the onboard graphics card, will they support dual monitors? Because I'm really
Absolutely.
limited. They do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm so glad I spoke to you.
Yeah, we'll save you some money. That saves you quite a bit of money on it.
Yeah, I was getting ready to shell out like $300 or $350 for just that alone.
I'd prefer seeing you get a nicer monitor or two monitors. That's great. Love that.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
for presenting, it makes sense. I love, one of the things Zoom does is they'll put the speaker in one screen and then the grid in another screen. Right. So I love that. There's lots of reasons why you would like that. You're presenting, so you'd like to see your desktop. There's all sorts of reasons why a multi-monitor setup
all
would be good.
All the things that I'm going to present, I'd like to stick on one, prepare and have them on one monitor.
In general, any modern, i5 with Iris graphics is going to be fine. You might check the specs before you buy it or call and ask and say, can I do two monitors? But I've never heard of it not being able to do two monitors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, memory. I currently have on this old thing here, 12 gigabytes, but obviously
12's good for 11 years ago. You obviously added some after a while.
Yeah.
I'd say 16 is fine.
Okay, not 30, so I don't have to go to...
No. Again, that's if you're doing stuff that really is demanding.
Okay.
16's plenty.
Okay.
So 16 terabyte, and this is a very typical setup, by the way. 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte hard drive, internal, motherboard graphics, Iris graphics. That's kind of the base model. And an i5 is plenty. You don't need an i7.
That was my final question.
Yeah.
So no i7,
the
no
difference,
i9, just i5.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a small price difference, the difference between the i5 and 7 is more L2 cache, which does make a difference in performance, and you'll get hyper-threading, which means you can do more things simultaneously. So you'll get some benefit from an i7. In a laptop, I don't generally recommend them just because the heat issues keep it from running at full speed. But on a desktop with good cooling, you'll see better performance with an i7. So it's kind of it's kind of up to you on whether you want to spend the money on that.
Gotcha. Leo, thank you so much, man. I'm so thankful that you did this for me, because you just gave me a bunch of money right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for teaching. What do you teach?
I teach Spanish at the high school level, and man, it is hard, Leo.
Nice. Keeping their attention in Zoom must be very difficult.
Oh, my God. It's, a class of 35, 36 kids. And
must be so hard.
Oh, I can't tell you.
Especially language. Yeah.
Especially language, Leo. I need the interaction, and then I need to have them interact with one another. Man, it's so difficult. I just hope this whole thing, we just get out of this as soon as possible. Yeah,
and in some ways you're going to look at this year as a little bit, not lost, but it'll be a less valuable year for these kids, sad to say.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Exactly.
Better than dying. Hey, thank you for teaching. Thank you for making that sacrifice.
Man. Thank you for the
My
time.
pleasure. Take care.
Bye,
John. Oh, I love Adobe Sign. It makes me so happy. Do you ever, this must happen to you. It happens to me surprisingly a lot. My bank or a lot of companies you do business with, they email you a document and they say, print this, strike one, sign it in blue ink, strike two, scan it, strike three, and then fax it to us, strike four. That's 4 strikes. He's out. I don't understand why they're not using Adobe Sign. E-signatures improve everything. It's better for your signers. It's better for you. It helps you get vitally important work done, whether it's request for permits or construction planning or health services, internal operations, human resources, procurement, IT. E-sig, it's just the wave of the future. Adobe Sign has processed more than 8 billion transactions from millions of signers all over the world, from small startups to global organizations. And now more than ever, you want digital signatures. You don't want to have to make somebody come and pick up a pen and sign. That's dangerous. But even then, signature that's not secure. Adobe Sign is as secure as you need it to be. Enterprise grade security and compliance. It's compliant with HIPAA. It's compliant with FERPA. It's compliant with GLBA. E-signatures protect sensitive information. They're both legal and accessible. Adobe Sign will automatically enforce whatever regulatory and policy rules your business is governed by automatically. You can have, it's more than just, a signature. A signature, come on. Anybody can fake that. But legal e-signatures let you choose from a variety of signer identification and verification methods. U.S. government ID. You can say, I need a U.S. government ID, certificate-based employee IDs, CAC cards, anything that is out there to support authentication, Adobe Sign will support it. And it works so easily because your employees can do it. You can automate workflows, so they don't have to have any higher authority. They can just set that all up. And it integrates with everything you're already using, Microsoft 365 or Salesforce or ServiceNow or Workday, whatever you're using. They've got APIs too, so you can integrate it into your existing custom software. And signers, trust me, I'm a signer a lot. We love it. You just click a link and it's signed. And it's more secure. And you can even track and manage progress, so you'll know the status. If you're still waiting, you can send reminders. You can have signatures expire. You can say, sign this within a week, or it's no longer valid. You can cancel requests at any time. Contracts get signed. Loans get approved. Deals get done faster than ever before. And Adobe Sign has a solution for any size business, from the littlest startup to the hugest global enterprise. Keep your business moving with Adobe. Learn more about what Adobe Sign can do for your business. Go to adobe.com/business moves. Because you know why? Because business moves with Adobe. ADOBE. You know it. Adobe.com/business moves. Thank you, Adobe, for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. We really appreciate it. And thank you for supporting us by signing up. And by the way, if you ever send me a document to print, sign, fax, I will send you a note saying, please, next time, Adobe Sign. Adobe.com/business moves. What is hip? Well, nowadays, hip is a little older. Tie-dye t-shirt, but a big white beard. Sometimes a man bun or a ponytail, sometimes not. Right? That's hip today.
That's totally hip.
Yeah. Lava lamp in the back, definitely hip. It must be Scott Wilkinson. He's our home theater geek, and he is the epitome of hip. Contributor at techhive.com. He joins us every week to talk about home theater. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
Good to see you. Is that over your left shoulder, your right shoulder, is that a binary clock?
It is.
How do you tell the time with that?
Actually, it's not a binary clock. It's called a TIX, T-I-X. You just count the number of lit squares in each area.
This is for people who really don't care what time it is, obviously.
Right. Well, I care what time it is for sure.
But you have a watch or a clock for that, I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
You don't do the math every time you look at your tick, do you?
No, I just like unusual clocks.
It is cool. Yeah, no, I'm a clock guy too. We share that.
Yeah.
So what can we talk about today? What's on your mind?
Oh, well, I just reviewed something very interesting on TechHive.
Okay.
So I'd love to tell you about that. It's from a company called Helm Audio. And basically what it is it's a powered headphone cable, an amplified headphone cable. So here it is. Just a little cable, a little more than a foot long, with a little module in line in the middle of it, a couple inches long, and so on.
So typically, there's two ways to do speakers. One is they get their power from an amplifier, And so you have speaker wire that leads to them, but they don't plug into the wall or anything. They just plug into the amplifier, and the amplifier sends enough signal down that speaker wire for them to make noise. But a lot of computer speakers these days and other speakers are powered. You plug them into the wall. Then the computer doesn't have to do a lot of amplifying. It just sends them a signal, and basically it's a little amplifier built into the speaker.
That's true, but this is for headphones.
This is a third way of going. Yeah, headphones never have amplifiers, right? They always have to be connected to an amplifier.
Right, and computers and phones, they all have their own built-in headphone amplifier.
Right.
But, how good is it? Well, it's not as good as this. I'll tell you that for sure.
So this is a third-party. I've done this before. I have some headphone amps that you plug into the computer. Does it have a DAC in it too, a digital?
It does not. No,
okay.
This is the difference between this and the iFi Hip DAC, which I talked about some time ago,
which
and you actually
love.
got one.
That's both a headphone amplifier and a digital to analog converter. It does both.
And I like that better, to tell you the truth. And interestingly, the Hip DAC is $50 less than this thing.
What? How much is this?
$200. Now,
I'm trying not to laugh.
Try not to laugh. It's, as I said, it's from Helm Audio. It's called the DB12 AAA amp. And what's special about it?
Yeah.
What's special about it is that it uses an amplifier technology from THX. Now you know the name THX, right?
Yeah.
They are mostly known for certifying, commercial cinemas and consumer audio and video products. You can buy a product that says THX certified, which means they've gone through a bunch of testing and verified that it performs up to a certain level.
Well, lately, though, they've been selling that THX name a little bit less carefully, shall we say. I've seen laptops with THX, I'm putting this in quotes, sound, or phones with THX sound. It's not quite the same.
Well, I'm not sure of that.
Really?
I'm not at all sure of that.
So it's not like Dolby, because Dolby definitely has been like selling out. You think THX, when you see the THX label, there really is something of value.
I still think there's something to it myself.
Okay.
But in addition to certifying products, they also create and desigin underlying technologies. And
so there's something going on in this. This is not just your average headphone amp.
No. In fact, they've done noise measurements, and this particular technology has far lower total harmonic distortion, or THD, than just about any other chip-based amplifier. And they've got some that are meant for desktop or I guess you'd call them desktop amps. A Benchmark makes one, but this one is for a portable or mobile headphone amp, battery powered. You have to charge it up. It comes with a USB-C port that you charge the battery, and the battery gives you like 6 hours or more of life. And this thing gives you 12 dB of gain that's super clean, and I mean super. A
lot better than it would from your smartphone.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Yes, exactly. Now, is it $200 worth? That's I think it's certainly worth it if you can spend that kind of money on a headphone amp. I did a comparison with my iPhone. I have an iPhone XS or 10S, I guess they call it.
Yeah.
And I did a comparison directly coming out of the iPhone and then coming through this thing. And, the iPhone's not terrible, but this thing's better. No question.
$200 better?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Unless you're listening. I mean, if you're using the iPhone headphones.
Well, yeah, of course.
You would want to use good headphones. Are you using your what is those, Stelias?
Focal Stelias.
Yeah.
Yes, I was using the Focal Stelias.
Okay, so if you got $3,000 headphones, you probably
$3,000 headphones, a couple $100 for a headphone
big deal.
amp is no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So
the THX is now owned by the Razer company, which makes gaming phones, smartphones, things like that.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's okay. It's not a...
Yeah.
But, that's why I'm starting to see THX...
THX certified on
phones
laptops
and things like that.
Gaming headphones.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I suppose that might be some concern, shall we say. But I do know that this amplifier technology, which was developed... like 5 years ago. And I first heard it 3 years ago in a prototype form at a headphone trade show called Can Jam.
I'm going to Can Jam. That sounds like
Can
fun.
Jam is great. It's really
I
fun.
love
Once I get back
headphones.
to-
People should give more credit to headphones, because instead of buying a big expensive stereo, you can. I think if you combine, for instance, this with some good headphones, you're going to get a better sound. I want to even combine a DAC too, though, right? Are the DACs, the digital to analog converters, that good?
This is an interesting thing, a very interesting question. I compared this one also with the iFi Hip DAC,
Right.
which replaces the DAC as well as the amplifier in the iPhone.
Yeah.
I heard virtually no difference between this and the Hip DAC, which means that the difference
is headphone.
Mostly in the amplifier.
Yeah.
The amplifier of the iPhone.
Interesting.
So I found that very interesting. So Hip DAC, $150. This $200. Virtually no difference in sound. This is much more convenient. It's much tinier.
It's just looks like a cable with a little bump in it. I mean, it's not
a cable with a bump in it, essentially. Yeah, and it's got volume controls and stuff. It also has a bass boost that works really well. If you're a bass head, if you're somebody who loves bass, you can turn on this little guy's bass boost and get 6 dB extra bass, and it's totally integrated in with the rest of the system.
That's nice.
It doesn't get boomy.
Yeah.
It doesn't get distorted.
I am kind of a fan of headphone amps. I do feel like that does make a difference. So
it really
I'll have
does.
to try this out.
Really
Read all about it at techhive.com. And then when Scott, just one question, when you plug it in, does it sound like this? Because if it did, I might pay $200 for it.
Right. Oh, sadly, it does not do that.
It doesn't do that? Okay. Darn it. Then it would be.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell THX about that.
Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek. You'll find him at techhive.com. Look for that review. Just came out of the Helm Audio DB12 amp. That's an interesting product. It's a really interesting product.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
As I said in the review, it's pricey. $200 is a lot of money, for a little thing.
Yeah, but I mean, headphone amps, that's about what they cost, right? I mean, it's just an IC. It's not a fancy thing.
It's an IC, but it's a custom designed IC.
Yeah.
With super low noise.
Right.
Super low distortion.
Yeah.
It really does what it says it's going to do. When I heard it at Can Jam, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's in the middle of a noisy show floor.
Right.
Right. And I said, that's pretty amazing. And this thing here is 3 years later.
Wow.
So
interesting.
that's kind of interesting. But it's a nice product. As I say, it's pricey, not obscenely pricey.
No.
It's
I mean,
pricey.
not like $3,000 Stellia headphones. Pricey. That's the problem. I mean, I would hope people wouldn't use this with their white eyebuds,
I would hope so, too.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't hear much of a difference there.
Right.
It wouldn't be worth it for that. But if you have a nice pair, even a pair of One More in-ears.
Really?
Right?
You think you'd see the difference?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I didn't actually try that. I should have. The One More triple drivers are $80.
And those are wired.
And those are wired.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I didn't mention in our segment.
Oh, yeah. You don't have a headphone jack anymore. But this would use the USB anyway, right? Because
no. It would use it. You need an adapter. You need the USB.
Oh, it wants analog in.
It wants analog. Of course, because
it's not a DAC. Yeah.
Right. It wants analog in.
I wish my hip DAC still worked.
I'm really sorry that it doesn't.
About that.
I need to get you in touch with them.
I just need to buy another one. It may well be my fault because I've fried other things now, and I think maybe the power in my house might be a little jaggy or something. Yeah, because I two other earbuds, both my Jabras, I can't charge anymore.
Oh.
And then I fried 3 camera bodies.
Oh, that sounds like something.
And then I read that it's not it's not common necessarily, but it could be that the inverter, if you have a solar array, that the which I do, the inverters sometimes don't give clean output. They give, instead of a nice sine wave, they give kind of a square wave, and that can be damaging.
Oh, yeah. That's got tons of harmonics in it.
Yeah. So I have to kind of figure out what's going on, I guess. Bring an electrician out. So I'm not going to blame them. Okay. But you can't buy it anymore anyway. I think it's way sold out, right?
I don't know. I'd have to go look.
Let me check.
I mean, mine is working fine. And, this one is much smaller.
Oh, yeah. They got them back in stock.
They got them back in stock.
Maybe I'll get another one and just bite the bullet.
It's so well made.
It's a really nice. I know.
Man, it's just solid as a tank.
I'll spend $16 and get the 2-year portable electronic accident protection plan.
It's probably worth it in your case.
If we can't repair it, we'll replace it. Yeah, maybe I should do that. No deductibles or added cost parts, labor, and shipping. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that. All right. Yours for another 40. Sorry, I used up all your time.
I'll be glad to stick around.
Thank you, sir.
So, hey, everybody. Actually, Woody fried a refrigerator because of unclean power.
Unclean
power. Oh, no.
It would work with anything with an analog port on it, right?
With an analog output.
Yeah.
Yep. You need an adapter for my iPhone. I needed the lightning to headphone adapter. But
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo. I'm going to call our musical director Hurricane Laura from now on. Hurricane Laura, spinning the discs. Let's go back to the phones. On the line, Adriana from Tyron, North Carolina. Hello, Adriana.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question, but I wanted to say I'm actually a long time, I guess, listener and watcher of you for the past 20 years.
That's a long time is right.
I know. I remember you from the days of Screensavers. I'm a huge fan. But my question to you, as being a first-time caller, is my Synology server.
Oh, yes. Good. We have Synology, too. We love our Synology. Tell me about yours.
Mine is a DS214 SE, and I've had it for 5 years.
Yep, because it came out in 2014. I know that. That's how you can tell with the Synology naming conventions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went ahead and I got one. It's running fine, knock on wood.
Yes.
However, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm probably ready to transition into something bigger, and I have Plex on it.
Oh, nice.
My husband and I, we back up everything.
Yeah, because you only have 2 drives in that one, right?
Correct. And so I'm not sure what to get because I'm so overwhelmed with the choices that Synology offers. And so I thought I'd call you.
Good. So we should explain Synology makes network-attached storage devices. What these are is they're really computers, but they're computers. It's like a muscle man that has the biggest arms and little teeny legs. It's a computer with no keyboard, mouse, or monitor, and kind of a weak processor. Decent, but weak. Really what it is a big storage device. And Synologies usually have multiple drives. You have the smallest kind, which is a 2-drive Synology. But I think you can go up to 32 drives in there. I'm not going to recommend that. And the naming of the Synology is helpful to cut through all this because it will tell you how many drives total you could have. Could have, by the way, is important because some of these support expansion chassis. So you can get, for instance, a 2-bay 720, 20 being the year, so it's the current year. But wait a minute, it's 2 bays. What's the 7? Well, you can add an expansion that would add another 5 drives. So that's a little deceptive. The reason you'd want multiple drives is for there are 2 reasons: capacity and redundancy. Capacity, because, of course, more drives means more storage. You're putting movies and TV shows on there, so clearly more storage would help. If you're backing up all your systems, more storage would help. You might try to figure out how much storage you need. And then redundancy is the other reason, because you can set it up with the Synology that if a drive fails, say I have a 5 drive, for instance, if one of those drives fails, I can pop it out, put in another one. It'll rebuild, and I haven't lost any data. I don't even have to turn it off to do that. It's called hot swapping. You can even say, and I think I have on my Synologies, use 2 drives for redundancy. So in order for me to lose data on that, I would have to have 2 drives fail at the same time. So that's reassuring. So I think a little bit bigger for you, a 1520, for instance, would be a good way to go. That would give you 5 drives, and it'd scale up to 15 you're never going to do that. Remember, the cost of the device that's just the enclosure. You have to add 5 drives to it. You can take the drives from your existing Synology.
Okay.
But you will have to rebuild the data. So you want to copy the data off of it before you move them over, and then create a fresh Synology. They do have less expensive ones like the 418, a couple of years old. Generally, with the less expensive, it's the same software. You could put the same drives in it. The microprocessor in there is not as powerful. That's the price.
I would rather actually have something more powerful.
Yeah, because you're using Plex.
Would invest into something.
Yeah, Plex, for instance, does transcoding. So you've probably noticed that you can have something on your Plex server, and that's 4K, but when it plays to your phone, it will transcode it on the fly into a lower quality, appropriate for the phone. And so that is a very CPU heavy thing. That's a lot of times if you're just doing backup, the processor speed's not important. But if you're using your Synology or any NAS for more than that, something like a Plex or maybe a web server, if you're doing more with it than just backup, then maybe a faster processor makes a difference. I'm a fan of the Plus series. I have 2 1515s. So, and the reason I have 2 is because one of the nice, and this is another thing to think about with cost, one of the nice things you can do with these is you can have one at home and one at work, and they will automatically copy one to the other. They're synchronized. So that gives me off-site storage as well. So I have my Plex and everything at home, but in the background, it's synchronizing, copying it over, backing itself up, in other words, to the drives at work. So when I got a newer Synology, because actually I do have a 1519, I got the new one, I took the 1515 to work and have it be my slaves. So I shouldn't use that word. My backup for the main drive.
So what I can't do, or tell me if it's possible, so my existing drives that I have on my server right now, if I were to buy the 1520, I would not be able to take those 2 drives into that, or would I be able to have, or would I be able
In
to
theory, you could, and add 3 drives, and it would rebuild, but I would back it up. Because if something goes wrong, you'll be sorry. There is in fact, we'll put a link in the show notes. Synology has a help file on how to do this. And they say it's possible. So I believe them. You can migrate them. But read up on it first. And I still think it's a good idea to back it up just in case. But I think you're
I believe in it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and this is great because for people who don't know, Plex lets you put your movies and TV shows on there and watch them anywhere, even over the internet. It becomes your own media server. So it's a really nice, I'm a big fan of Plex. Do you have it set so that Plex is also a DVR for you? Because you can get, with appropriate hardware, you can make it be your DVR.
I have not done that. I have looked into that. I was so proud of myself that I was able to set this up about 6 years ago.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I thought I couldn't do it, and my husband thought I was crazy. I was like, I've got to figure out how to do this, and I did.
You watched a lot of videos, right?
I know. So I'm like the network administrator in our household, or really my whole family unit. So I'm usually the person that people will ask, well, how do you do this? So it's because of you. I wanted to say thank you so much, and I think you helped so many people out. Oh. And I always tell people all the time, I said, if you ever get stuck, you really should watch his videos or catch him online.
Thank you, Adriana. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We're going to put a link in the show notes at techguylabs.com, or you can just Google Synology, how to migrate between Synology NAS, and it talks about the steps to take those 2 drives, put them in the new, add 3 more if you're going to go to 5 drives. 5 drives nice. I really like it. It's expensive because you got to buy the $600 NAS, and then you have to put hard drives in it, but at least you've got 2.
Yes. I would just rather invest and just start to build. So, and that way I have something substantial to be able to back everything up. It
was my attitude that, it's expensive, but I'm going to be glad that I have this, really robust system for backup.
Yes.
Yep. Good going, Adriana. Nice to talk to you. Thanks for calling.
It was nice talking to you. Take care of yourself. Bye.
I love turning normal, nice people into geeks. I love that. There might be something wrong with me, but I just no. You know what? I like it that you can be empowered. That, you know, instead of being at the mercy of the geek squad and, you know, your nephew or whatever, that you can be empowered to figure it out. It's kind of fun if you have a mind, you know, an interest and a mind for it. Some people, it's like going to the dentist. You don't ever want to do it, and I understand that too. I do. Not everybody's kind of, but if you have a kind of an inclination, if you kind of like this thing, you can learn. It's not that hard, honestly, and the resources are there. It's not just me. There are tons of resources for learning this stuff. And then it's empowering. It's time to clean the schmutz on my desk while Scott takes over. All yours,
Thank you so much.
All yours.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, who died yesterday.
Isn't that so sad?
So sad.
He was amazing.
Amazing. Not only that, but he did his last few movie roles while battling colon cancer. It's astonishing.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. I mean, he was such a great Black Panther. You know, I know, Leo, you're not a big fan of Marvel superhero movies, but I am.
Oh, but I love Black Panther. I loved Black Panther.
That was absolutely one of the best Marvel superhero movies ever, period. And largely because of him, although there were plenty of other great characters in that movie. But man, he just did such a great job. And he played Jackie Robinson in 42. He was remarkable. And yesterday I heard the news and I went, oh, man, that's really sad. Really, really sad. So kudos to Chadwick Boseman. He will be greatly missed. And yeah, it looks like my sync is fixed, but during the show, I think it wasn't. How weird. How weird that. And Thurgood Marshall. Yes, Dr. Mom Grandma, exactly right. He also played Thurgood Marshall. And I think one of his last roles was Spike Lee in Spike Lee's Da Five Bloods. He was just great. Yeah, Kim, exactly. Amazing he was able to do those roles while so sick. I mean, colon cancer is no joke. That's no trivial thing. So it was quite more amazing than even his performance, had he been well, was his performance being that sick. Really amazing. So yeah, everybody, let's see if you got any questions for me or anything you want to talk about, or whether you'd like me to talk about. Yes, Beatmaster makes a point about the caller, or no, it was about frying your electronics. Power conditioner certainly would help. A real power conditioner, not a simple power strip that you might get in Home Depot or whatever that says it does power conditioning, but you need a real power conditioner. But that only affects what you've got plugged into it, so not the whole house. There are whole house power conditioners. Those are pretty pricey, I would guess. I haven't looked into them very much. Somebody here on the chat room would probably know. But yeah, in Leo's case, I would think maybe a whole house power conditioner might be worth looking into. Now, he just installed Tesla solar panels and a power system, and I would expect I read something in the chat room just a minute ago that you would expect a Tesla power converter to be really good and put out a sine wave, but maybe not. I don't know. But putting a power conditioner on that, probably a good idea. That would certainly, I think, help things, because you're right. If the power is not a sine wave, but more like a square wave, it's got a lot of harmonics in it, and those higher harmonics power systems, power supplies, and so on aren't expecting to see. And if they see high levels of them, that could spell trouble. All kinds of trouble. Let's see. Takokati. Takokat? Is there a rating of DACs on TechHive or somewhere? What's a good place to do research? Oh, that's a great question. Let's see. I don't know if TechHive has a DAC specialty section. I do know that I'm sure that there are headphone sites that do. I would look at innerfidelity.com. They might have a DAC section. Headfi. I don't remember if it's .com or .net, but Headfi will probably have one. Taco Cat, thank you very much. Oh, of course, Taco Cat. It's the weird capitalization that got me. Sorry. Anyway, Headfi would probably have one. So let's see. Beatmaster says, saw Tenet yesterday. I know you won't risk going to theaters for a while, but dang, it looked and sounded awesome. I'll bet it did. Now, where did you see it? Was it in an AMC? Was it in a Dolby Cinema? Are they even up yet? I know AMC opened, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that. And I haven't read anything whether Dolby Cinema has actually come back or not. I'm not going to go into a theater. Sorry. I would like to. I'd like to go see Tenet for sure. I'm sure it looks fantastic. I've read a couple reviews, that it's a Christopher Nolan movie. Got lots of twists and turns. Not going to win any Academy Awards, but I would definitely go see it if it weren't for the virus. Beatmaster's in Switzerland. Oh, okay. So what kind of theater did you go see it in? Was it do you know, was it a laser illuminated projector? Might have been. There's more of those in Europe, I think, than in the U.S. Was it a Dolby Cinema? I would love to know, because I'll bet you in HDR it looks phenomenal. IMAX, Beatmaster says. Okay, so if it was a laser IMAX, then yeah. And Christopher Nolan is a big IMAX fan. That's true. So I'm not surprised it was in IMAX. He maybe even shot it on IMAX cameras. Did he use the full IMAX aspect ratios is another question. I know he did on Dunkirk. And I saw it 2 places. I saw that movie in an IMAX, full IMAX, and in a Dolby Cinema, and they definitely had to crop it for Dolby Cinema. So that would be interesting to know. They got lasers here. Yeah, I know IMAX has. If you go to an IMAX theater, I strongly recommend one with laser illumination, because it does have better blacks and higher peak brights. So it's better than a lamp-based IMAX, and they're probably switching over pretty fast. As I recall, they use Barco projectors, whereas Dolby Cinema uses Christie projectors, but they're both, heavy into lasers. Let's see. I only have 40 seconds. Music to my soul. I have a cochlear implant in one ear, profoundly deaf, hearing aid in the other. Will be implanted in that ear. I can plug an audio cable into my Bluetooth accessory. Would an amplified cable or DAC or anything like that improve the sound? Good question. Let me think about that for a minute. I got 20 seconds left. I thought I heard the music. And there is the music.
Thank you, Scott. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
See you next week.
Bye-bye. Why, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, some smartwatches, All that jazz. 8888. Ask Leo is my phone number. If you want to talk high tech, I'd love to do it with you. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Back to the phones we go with Judy. She's in Missoula, Montana. Hello, I'm sorry, Andy. Andy. I don't know why I saw Judy. I read it wrong. Hi, Andy.
Andy, Judy, I'll answer.
Hurricane Andy on the line. What can I do for you, sir?
Well, thank you for taking my call. I've been a long-time listener.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I got a couple questions that hopefully they're simple.
Yes.
Number one, I have a elderly mom that uses a computer. She does some surfing, email, checks Facebook, reads the news, nothing heavy.
Yep.
And I've been her IT support. I use remote PC. But
nice. Thank you.
It's time to replace the computer, and I was thinking about getting her a Chromebook. Can I use remote PC to get it on the Chromebook?
You don't need to, because there is a good Google-provided remote access solution for Chromebooks. So Chrome OS Remote has remote support built in, and that's all you really need. It's an extension that you put. I'm trying to remember. It's called Chrome OS Remote Desktop. I'm trying to remember. I don't think you need to be running Chrome OS. I think you can do it from your Chrome browser and then log into your Chromebook. So she has to put it on her Chromebook, obviously. So when you set up the Chromebook for her, or when she sets it up, she can install it. And then you can use the Chrome browser on any computer, Mac, PC, Linux, and go to hers and do the same thing you do with a remote desktop.
Yeah, I don't see, one of the reasons going to Chromebook is I won't have to do as much remoting in.
Exactly. I think you'll have to do very little because she can't get into trouble with a Chromebook. I think, you just described a very typical user. That's how I would say 99% of people use computers. And almost all of that's can be done in the browser. And that's what Chrome OS is. It's a Chrome browser. It's particularly designed for security, to be locked down. Most of the time, what you'll want to show her when you set it up for her is power wash. Most of the time, anything goes wrong, she can do a power wash, and she's back to the way it was when it came from the store. And
I'm new to Chromebook. Is power wash kind of like a reset?
It's a reset. And the reason that's particularly useful in a Chromebook is because most of what you're doing in a Chromebook is online. In fact, you want to encourage her not to think of it the way she's been thinking about her existing computer, which is with storage, local storage. Almost always, the best way to use a Chromebook is to use Google Drive. It's designed for that as your storage. And then that way, you can use any Chromebook. When you log into your Google account, it will immediately configure itself to look exactly like every other Chromebook, including all your data. If you store data locally, and people, because out of habit, they often do. They download files and stuff, and it's stored locally. When you do that, then a power wash wipes that out. So...
Okay, and there's using the Chromebook is pretty simple, straightforward to hook up the printers and all that.
Yeah, it's I mean, hooking up a printer is never fun, but Chromebook works much like a Windows machine does in that regard. They used to have, and it makes me mad that Google killed this. They used to have something they called Cloud Print that I thought was a little bit easier, which is you could print via the internet to any computer. Now it's more like a Windows computer where it has drivers for the local printer, I should say.
Well, I appreciate your time. You convinced me that the Chromebook's the way to go.
It's awesome. It will also lower your burden, and she probably won't notice a difference because all the things you described, she's probably doing in the browser. The one exception, maybe she's using Microsoft Mail instead of the browser to get her mail. I don't know. But most of the time,
she is, but you could do that online too.
Yeah, most mail systems now have a web interface, and it's actually preferable to use that in almost every case, especially for a basic user. I mean, I'm gonna always have a personal computer with a real operating system because I want to do things that are hard to do on a Chromebook. But I have to say, even for me, 99% of the things I do on a computer, I could do just as fine on a Chromebook. It's those few things like photo editing or computer coding, writing software, things like that. You want a general purpose machine.
Well, thank you very much.
Good.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Sure.
To answer later in the show. I'm trying to convince myself whether I should buy the Microsoft Duo or not.
Well,
and I want to hear your opinion.
I took the hit, so you didn't have to. I bought it immediately, and it'll be coming September 10th. I'll tell you the pros and cons on this. Microsoft says it's not a phone. It's a phone. It's an Android device, the first Android device from Microsoft, which is interesting in and of itself. And it's really interesting because it looks like a little book, like a little notebook. When you open it up, it has two screens, left and right, two 5.6-inch screens, which is kind of normal phone size. Together, they make kind of like an 8-inch tablet. But remember, there's a hinge, so there's a little bit of a bezel in between the two. And Microsoft says that's a good thing. Well, I think it's a good thing mostly because folding screens, as in the Galaxy Fold, are still imperfect. I'm not convinced that they're going to be technically a good choice. They feel weird. They fold. There's a crease. We understand. Everything Microsoft's doing with the Duo, we know. It's just like a phone with a hinge. It's like two phones hinged together. They made it really thin. There are negatives. No headphone jack, no NFC, so you can't use tap to pay. It does have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, thank goodness, and it does support a phone SIM, so you can use it as a phone with any major U.S. carrier. It's not waterproof, and it doesn't have wireless charging, and it's expensive. It's $1,400. So a lot of the tech journals go, "Oh, this is a bad idea," but I personally think it's a really interesting idea. But I won't know until I use it. Now, my friend Mary Jo Foley, who does our Windows Weekly podcast, has one. They seated about 50 journalists with them, and a lot of people have them. Marquez Brownlee. They cannot turn it. They can turn it on, but they can't tell anybody they've turned it on or show it until September 10th, the ship date. So those reviews will come out September 10th. Mine will come out the day after on the show. It'll be an early review because I'll have only had it for a day. But I think it's worth paying attention to for people like me because it's a new way of thinking of a pocket computer, which I find very intriguing. And I think I'm going to like it. But again, I don't have it yet, so it's hard to tell. And I do think that this is the first one, so it will get better next year. If it's popular.
Yeah, I might wait till you get yours and listen to the show.
That's what I would do. Yeah. Let me take the hit.
What is the other podcast that you were talking about?
We have, so I do the radio show, but then during the week, foolish me, I thought, oh man, I'm going to have a lot of free time. I should do something else. Dumb. I should have just dumb. But I started about 15 years ago a podcast network. We do about 20 very geeky tech shows. One of them is called Windows Weekly, and it's with a couple of really good Microsoft journalists. I do it with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, and Mary Jo has one. So she talked about it a little bit. If you listen to the Windows Weekly from this past week, she talked a little bit about it, but she was not allowed to turn it on and show us. It's under what the tech press calls embargo. She's embargoed until the September 10th for her review. So I jumped on it. I literally, when I heard it was available, I got up at 6 in the morning and ran to the computer to buy it because, well, for a couple of reasons. One, I'm bored. This is my job. I cover all the glass slab phones, and they all are basically the same. Android or iOS is the only difference, and there's some small differences. This is something new, something different. I was going to buy the Galaxy Fold, but this I think is probably more sensible. And it's a lot. It probably is half as expensive. The Galaxy Fold is going to be very pricey. But I love the idea of something you can carry. It's very thin. It's thinner than an iPad. 5 millimeters. So when you put it together, it's 10 millimeters thick. That's thinner than an iPad. But it's a little big, so it's not going to fit in your breast pocket. It might fit in your, Mr. Green Jeans Captain Kangaroo pockets on your jacket. Or purse. So it's going to be weird. It's different. But I'm just craving a new idea in smartphones, and this is it. So I've jumped on.
I look forward to your review.
Yeah. Let me take the arrows on my back. I'm charging over the hill.
Okay. Thank you for your help.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Good to talk to you, Andy. I'm glad you gave me a chance to mention both the Chromebook. Always happy to plug it. People constantly overbuy in their computers. They buy a Mac or a PC because that's what you buy, right? It's a computer, but most people don't need a general purpose computing device. That way is more complex, less reliable, more insecure, when they could easily do everything they want with a more specific device, a device like an iPad or a Chromebook. Those are the two primary choices I recommend. They're designed to be secure, simple, reliable, not to need tech support. In my opinion, Windows has ever been designed for a company that has an IT department. If you don't have an IT guy, you are the IT guy, or your mom's IT guy, as in Andy's case, and that's a bit of a burden. Why should you have to learn all that stuff just to use a computer? So an iPad or a Chromebook is a very good choice. And then I'm very glad to thank you, Andy, for the chance to talk about the Duo, because I'm intrigued. Don't know if it's going to live up to its promise, but it's about time we had some innovation in this space. Essentially, all that's happened since the iPhone came out in 2007, it's got faster and better cameras, better screens, a little bit incremental. Every year it's a little bit better. We're kind of the point like the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 came out. Now I'm a Galaxy Note fan. I've had every one. I didn't buy this one because it's like, well, it's pretty much the same as the 10. With little tiny differences. Well, I have a Note 10. I don't need a Note 20. And nor do you, nor does anybody. But I was willing to spend some money, a lot of money, really, $1,400 for a Duo because I think it's going to be an interesting idea. It's a book. It opens up with two screens. How intriguing. 8888 ask Leo. Or I could be completely nuts. I could be wrong. Easily could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first. It certainly won't be the last. But that's my job. Run over that hill. Say, charge! And you watch and wait and see what happens to me. That's how it works. Our show today brought to you by a well-groomed Leo Laporte. I'm Manscaped. Just because you're in quarantine doesn't mean you should let yourself go to hell. Gentlemen, it's important to take control of your hygiene from your head to your toes, and Manscaped is here to do it for you. First of all, very important you use the right tools for the job. You're trimming some of your most important assets. You don't want to take a chance. I actually got the Perfect Package 3.0 Essential Kit, which comes with their new lawnmower. This is the third generation lawnmower 3.0. It's an amazing electric trimmer featuring advanced skin-safe technology. It's those ceramic blades. They never pull, never tug, and can never nip you, which is a good thing. In fact, there's a nice LED light on it to help see those hard-to-reach places. It's got an adjustable guard with two lengths, because honestly, I don't want to look like a baby. I just want to look cleaned up. You also get a magic mat, a set of 3 disposable mats that actually make a very fun bathroom reader and have some grooming tips for you. You get the Crop Preserver, which is a lovely anti-chafing deodorant for your special sensitive areas. A Crop Reviver, which is a toner and refresher. You even get some nice Manscaped boxer briefs. If you add the Peak Hygiene Plan to your Perfect Package 3.0, you receive replacement blades for the trimmer every 3 months. That's a good idea because it keeps them extra sharp. And a sharp trimmer never pulls or nips or cuts. And there's no commitment. You can cancel anytime. And then this way, when you finally emerge from your hidey hole, you go hidey, hidey, high. You'll be breathing the fresh air rather than letting the wind blow through your unkempt hair. And by the way, they have the single best manicure kit I have ever used. It's the Shears 2.0, a 5-piece nail kit designed to handle the most demanding of men's nail care. It's beautifully made. Safety scissors, nail clippers, tweezers, an ear pick, a nail file. They're made with tempered stainless steel, corrosion-resistant, long-lasting, and just good-looking. I keep that with me in my briefcase because you never know. You don't want a hangnail or a rough edge. You want to make sure you're... By the way, little tip to you young men. The ladies pay attention to the state of your nails. I see guys with really raggedy fingernails, and I just want to give them one of these. We did give our entire staff Shears 2.0 because we use our hands. We're hand models, and it goes along, of course, complements beautifully your Manscaped refining products. There's crop cleanser, hair and body wash. There's foot duster, 24-hour foot deodorant. You don't have to worry about out-of-control fur or overgrown talons. Manscaped will help you take care of it all, leave you smelling fresh. There is no reason. Self-respect, guys. Self-respect. Take care of yourself. Don't come out of quarantine looking like a werewolf. Use the right tools for the job. 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com/twit. That's a good deal. 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped, past tense, because you've done it. Manscaped.com/twit. I love these guys. Manscaped, and they're fun, too. They got a great sense of humor. Manscaped.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I got my geek shoes on. Ron in Downey, California. Hello, Ron. Leo Laporte here.
Hey, good to talk to you, Leo. Hey, and let me start. I just want to echo what Adriana said earlier about this. The services platform you provide is fantastic. The information is great, and thank you.
Well, thank you. Gosh, I'm getting some nice treatment today. Must have done something right.
Yeah. So here's my question. So NBC has this new streaming service,
Peacock
network or the app, and it sounds like I can't get this app or this network on Spectrum, and you can't get the app on my I can't get the app on my Samsung Smart TV, my Roku, or my Fire Stick. So my question is, it sounds like you can sideload the app to the Fire Stick, and my question is, is sideloading legal, and is it safe? Is there any risk of somebody, typing in a URL and getting an app from some
absolutely. In fact,
Amazon and
it is
get on my network. And,
absolutely. There's always a risk, so you got to be very careful. In fact, this actually goes with the Fortnite story that I started the show with, because Epic, when they first put Fortnite out for Android, again, didn't want to pay the 30% to Google, so they said, look, just download it. Android has a setting. You can check a box that says, and that's, by the way, why Fire TV does it. It's based on Android. You can check a box that says, I want to get stuff not just from the Google Play Store, from other places, or not just from the Amazon Fire Store, but from other places. And that means you can sideload, get it from another store or another site, just like you can on your computer. And the rules are the same, by the way. So when you have a computer, a Windows or a Mac machine, you can go to any arbitrary website and says, download our nice software, and download and install it. You probably have want to be a little careful when you're doing that, right? It's exactly the same. If you're getting it from a safe place somewhere, you know that they haven't modified the file, or that you're actually, that you're getting something that says it's Peacock, but it's really, something else, malware, then go ahead and do it. It's perfectly fine to do it. It's absolutely legal. It's even legal to do it on the iPhone, by the way. You have to jailbreak an iPhone to do it. And people say, Apple will say, you can't, terms of service. But the Librarian of Congress, who runs all of this copyright stuff, said, no, you can absolutely do that. It's legal to jailbreak an iPhone. So there's no legality issue. There's a security issue entirely. And in fact, when Fortnite was first available on Android, the very first thing some bad guy did is intercept the downloads and put malware on people's, phones. So that immediately happened. Now, that was a very rich target, because he knew, there are going to be 5 million people downloading this program tomorrow. Let me see if I can figure out a way to intercept that. It's a little different with Peacock. You can't. I don't. Are you going to get it from NBC or where are you going to get it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I've watched a YouTube video and somebody said, "Well, this is how you can go to my URL and here you can get."
Yeah, so that
made me a little bit.
Yeah, cause for concern. There are APK libraries. These files are stored in a format called APK. There are places that are a little bit more legit and known places like apkmirror.com, where it's generally speaking safe to download files from. I don't know on Amazon if that would work. I think it would, because Amazon is Android, and you're still downloading an APK. So I would check it's on APK Mirror. I would check that. That I would trust, not some guy on YouTube. No, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So that's a little tricky. It's not illegal. Peacock is free, as you know.
Right.
And eventually, by the way, they'll make a deal with Spectrum. It's just that they haven't made a deal. So
yeah, to your point, it's similar to the fees. There's something about the way they're charging the fees, and somehow NBC wants to get the money directly. Yep. They don't want to go through Roku.
It's not on Roku. Yep.
Right.
Same reason. It's all about negotiation. And Roku for a long time didn't have HBO, and eventually they made a deal, and it did have HBO. It's in both parties' interests. Peacock not being on Roku is a big deal. That's a big loss for them. So there's pressure on them. There's incentive on them, and there's incentive on Roku because that makes their platform that much less valuable. So both sides want to make an agreement. You're right. It's all about money.
Right, and Roku seems to be the in my opinion, it's the better of the streaming.
It's one I recommend. Yeah,
because you can get Apple TV on it. You can get the app for.
Although the Apple TV app on Roku is not as good as it is on Apple TV. It's Apple did not do their best work.
But content-wise, you can still get the
same content, right?
Yeah.
So Roku is the only platform that does everything.
Right.
Except Peacock.
apkmirror.com.
Yeah, that's a trustworthy place. It's still always a little nervous, but you can get Peacock there. And now I don't know for a fact that it will work on your Fire, but it should. The other issue, the other way to handle this might be using Chromecast. So if you have Peacock on your phone, you can Chromecast it.
Yeah, that just seems like a double source. You have to have the phone on, you have to have the TV on.
Yeah, no, I agree. The phone you can turn off once you Chromecast it. If you have a Chromecast device, it picks it up and then is in charge, so the phone can then be turned off. But I agree, it's not as desirable. I agree, it'd be better to have it on the Roku or the Fire TV.
All right, well, let me try that.
Give it a try. Yeah, you're exactly right. Anybody could put a YouTube video up and say, hey, I got a copy of it. And you know what? Chances are it's fine. But you don't know.
Many of those guys, there's so many of them.
Right. You're not sure. The technique he's talking about, it does work. So follow the technique, but just don't get it from him.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for the kind words. He's been everywhere, man. He's Johnny Jet, breathing the mountain air, man. He's traveled all over the world, man, which means he can sit back and stay home and stay safe. JohnnyJet.com is his website. Hello, John.
Hello, Leo.
Did you go see your papa?
Nope. You know what? I'm glad I didn't, because I looked at the weather and
Hurricane
there was
Laura.
a hurricane coming.
Yeah.
But also he said do not come. But I'm still thinking about surprising him one of these days.
You can see him safely. You wear a mask. He's wearing a mask. You're outside. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So I just don't know if I want to leave my two little kids home alone with my wife.
Yeah. I understand. And this is hard because you love travel. I love travel. This is for me one of the biggest hardships. Thank God I have a job and I can work, but I do miss going places. Right. And I'm sure you feel the same way.
I mean, actually, one of the new travel trends, which is if you haven't heard of it yet, you're going to see it everywhere. But all the hotels are now trying to push these clever marketing campaigns where you work or do school from the hotel room. So they're saying that, they're going to have workspaces. They're going to have, make it easy for you to hook up to the TV or multiple rooms, or they're going to have a kitchen, whatever you need. One was like, we're going to have a pot of coffee for you every day, which, so it's interesting. I mean, they're really pushing these, and I think it's great because listen, my
at least
dream
you're
was to
somewhere.
always homeschool my kids and travel the world. And my wife's like, we're not doing that. But now you're forced to do that. So I would love to do that. Just be able to do these virtual classrooms. And there are schools that offer it. I mean, before the pandemic, but now I think it's going to be, right now, obviously it's a huge trend, but it's going to be even bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I really feel for all these wonderful hotels. And I think I mentioned we were going to one in Napa Valley in the wine country, which is not so far from us. We're in Sonoma, which is the other wine country, the lesser known. And it was cabins. So we thought we'll stay there. We'll stay in the cabin. We'll eat our meals in the room. That'll be safe. And this beautiful area, we'll take hikes or bike rides. It should be a very nice vacation, except that it caught on fire. And
did the hotel catch on fire?
I don't know. I don't think so, but it was evacuated. And so we were about to unpack. They said, goodbye.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for the wildfires to die down, because I really would like to do that. And it's the same reason we order takeout. I want to support these places because I want them to be there when this is all over too.
For sure. I mean, without a doubt. And that's the thing. I mean, I think they said 1 out of 4 restaurants are closing. And
breaks my heart.
Fortunately, museums, by the way, are opening up.
I saw the Museum of Modern Art open today.
The New York City Museum's open on the 24th. The British Museum, the UK Museum's open up, including the British Museum. I was actually watching the Sky News the other night, and they had the curator on, and he was like, normally we have 21,000 people, but now we're capped at 2,000 people.
Good. So there's social distancing.
Yeah, it's a great experience. Actually,
it'd be a better time.
To the British Museum.
If you've ever gone to see the Mona Lisa at the Louvre, it's a zoo.
It's a zoo. And the Mona Lisa is so small. You get up there, you're like, what? But now, this is a great time for travelers. First of all, most importantly, you should stay home until this pandemic is over, especially if you have any kind of
existing condition, or
risk,
if you're
around people.
If you're around people who are high risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not telling people to get out there and travel unless they feel safe, and they're doing it smart. I mean, wear your mask and keep the distance.
Right.
And all that stuff. But the New York City museums are capping at 25%. But both these museums, you have to, pretty much every museum, you have to register online before. So you just can't roll up and try and get in. So always make your reservation in advance. Otherwise, you're going to have a difficult time. And actually here in L.A., the L.A. Zoo just opened up. And that's one place I would like to take my son because it's outdoors. It's much safer than being indoors. And they're doing the same thing, physically distancing. And so I'm excited about that. And, I was looking at the TSA numbers. They're pretty much leveled off. I think the most has been 830,000 have traveled through. And now that we're going into the fall, it's probably going to drop because, kids are going back to school, and business travelers are not going to be traveling this year. I mean, there's really very little business travel.
One of the things we're learning that's kind of interesting is that a lot of this business travel was unnecessary. In fact, going into the office may be unnecessary. Pinterest just announced they had a big lease, giant, 80,000 square foot facility in San Francisco. They just said, we're not going to need that ever. People are going to work from home.
I've spoken there before. I've actually been a guest speaker there, and my wife.
Yeah. Oh, I know. She's a
beautiful
Pinterest influencer.
Yeah, she's a pinfluencer.
A pinfluencer.
And she's still doing that with brands. She's still creating their Pinterest boards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, the whole thing about...
I'm sorry. It was 500,000 square feet, 490,000 square feet. It was an unbuilt building south of Market that they were going to move into.
I have not been to that one.
Yeah, they're keeping their Brannan Street stuff. The one that you've been to. This one isn't even built.
I see.
In fact, they're paying $90 million to get out of the lease.
That is insane.
But I think they think they're going to save so much that, well, why not?
Wow.
The world is changing.
I'm blown away at that.
The world is changing. It's going to be a while before it gets back to the way it was, if ever.
For sure. But speaking of San Francisco is one of the first U.S. airports where they're actually doing rapid testing. Right now, it's only for airport workers and I think first responders, but they hope to expand it to travelers, and this is going to be the way of the future. I mean, they have.
You've mentioned this before, yeah. The idea that everybody who gets on a plane, a train, a boat is tested before they get on.
It's not going to be the vaccine. It's going to be rapid testing. They're going to test everyone when you get on a cruise, when you get off the cruise, and same thing. And then that way they're going to be able to contain it. I mean, that's what New Zealand has done. Yeah. And actually, speaking of New Zealand, that's my website this week. I just wrote a post. I tweeted it. I'll put it in the chat room right when I finish this. But they're always coming up with really clever marketing campaigns, including Air New Zealand. But the tourism New Zealand's like, you know what? They're not letting people into New Zealand right now, but they're still trying to get people to think about it and put it on their wish list. So
I imagine
now they created
countries like New Zealand, tourism is a huge part of their their economy, right?
Yeah. When the movie Hobbit came out, I think it increased tourism by like 67%. Something ridiculous, but so they're really clever with campaigns, and now they're creating their first Spotify channel where they have 4 different
sounds of New Zealand.
Sounds.
Oh, that's great.
2 of them are narrated, and the other ones are just the sounds of nature. And they're short, but you can escape, and it's relaxing. And I think everyone these days need to sit back, even for that 6 or 7 minutes. Sit back and dream that you're in New Zealand. Have you been to New Zealand, by the way?
No, I'm dying to go, and I will go.
I mean, it is one of the most beautiful countries. The people are so friendly.
Yeah.
It's so. I went hiking one time out there, and our guide's like, "Would you like to eat a grub worm?" And I'm like, "No, thank you." But he just cut down
come on, mate. You want to eat a grub worm, don't you? Oh, no, that's Australia. Never mind.
But I did eat it. I mean, he's like, you want it cooked? I was like, yeah, I prefer...
Crispy grub worm is always preferable.
Yeah, it tastes like chicken.
No, chicken tastes like grub worm. I think you better get that straight. Yeah. So where else? I mean, we gotta travel. How else are we gonna eat bugs? We gotta get out there, folks. The bugs need to be eaten. They're waiting.
Yeah. Also this week, Norwegian Air, I read some reports that they're in trouble. Wall Street Journal just did a story. So I'd be careful.
You can't get travel insurance on Crystal Cruises right now in many cases because
Virgin Atlantic will give you travel insurance.
Yeah.
They'll cover you for COVID.
Yeah.
So
you got to shop. You got to be a smart shopper, and the best way to do it, go to johnnyjet.com. He's got a great podcast and a YouTube channel too, and of course he's on Instagram. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wow. What a world.
So I wanted to say, if you are booking on Norwegian, I would do it within 60 days. Don't book it for the spring. Wait till, because that way you're at least covered by the fair credit. Your
credit card will protect you. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't use a debit card. I mean, don't ever use a debit card for travel. Always use a credit card.
I thought that was interesting, though, that people are having trouble getting trip insurance on Crystal Cruises because I guess their parent company,
they're in trouble.
The parent is defaulting on credit payments.
It's a Hong Kong company, but the guy is Malaysian, I believe. Mm-hmm. The owner.
Yeah. And then Crystal, which is Florida-based, says that's separate.
I know. You know what? I would be worried. I'd be wary again. If I was booking on them, I would do it within 60 days of my trip using a credit card. That way, you're definitely going to get your money back.
Well, definitely is a big word. You think?
True.
You think?
Well, make sure you use the right credit card. But there is the Credit Card Billing Act protects you. So I wouldn't be booking far in advance. And they say most cruises in the U.S. will not go until April probably. Especially Alaska. And they're actually talking about Alaska might not even open up next year because Canada is now saying that they might not allow.
You ain't coming through here. Yeah, you're not coming through here.
And cruise ships can't do that. American cruise ships can't go through there.
No, they have to stop in Victoria.
Actually, not American. Other cruise ships.
Yeah, because they're flagged in these little places that are low tax. That's just no. Yeah, so they have to stop in another country. Otherwise, they're not.
So I wouldn't be booking Hawaii or cruises until 2021.
I just tell my wife, because she's dying. She says, we got to go. So I just tell her, you know what? Everybody's suffering.
They are.
Oh, I mean, it's just the way it is. You can't avoid it.
I was listening to one of my friends' podcasts yesterday, Peter Greenberg, and he was like, Hawaii hotels don't even want to open up because they're going to be limited to 20%.
Right. It's more expensive to open up. We had a number of restaurants in town that started, and they said, there's no point in offering takeout. We can't make enough money to pay for our operations. It's cheaper for us to shut down.
Yep. So,
the world will be very different when we come out of this. And I don't know what travel is going to look like. I really don't.
It's ugly right now, and I'm really hoping that it turns. Because
I'm determined to still travel. If I have to wear a breathing apparatus, I'm still doing it.
We'll adapt. I mean, I will start traveling again, but I'm just making sure it's the right time.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny.
All right,
Stay well. Take care.
You too. See ya.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number, I'm your tech guy right now. Michael on the line from Torrance, California. Hi, Michael.
Let me take you out speaker.
Yay, thank you.
Dr. Leo.
Dr. Michael.
You have been, you've had your ego stroked a few times.
Stop it, you guys. I'm blushing.
The third one.
Good. Just be mean. Just be mean to me. Just be mean.
No, I'm not going to be mean.
Okay.
So I can beat Adriana from North Carolina.
Okay.
I've listened to you since 1994, I believe, KSFO.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny? My son, who was born in 1994, just had his 26th birthday.
Oh, my God.
And I found a picture of him sitting in my lap when he was, not even a year old, probably 3 months old or 4 months old, in the KSFO studios. The big mic flag on it. Yeah, and I just sent it to him. He's wearing a onesie. It's a long time. It's a long time.
Yeah. I moved up there, used to work at Rand Corp in Santa Monica.
Oh, no kidding.
And then moved up to...
well, so you're a smart guy.
For a new startup called Netcom, Online Communications.
I remember Netcom, yeah.
Yeah. I did ops and then architecture and built out the network and POPs.
Man.
When bonds were the big...
Oh, man. Well, so you know your stuff. That's tough stuff.
Well, back when DS3s were spectacular.
Very advanced. Well, I'm honored that you've been listening all that time. Thank you.
Well, and I just want to say you provide a great service for tech people and non-tech people.
Well, you're a tech person. You're a big-time tech person. I mean, Michael, you count. In fact, I imagine half the time you're listening, you're going, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about."
No, quite the contrary. He knows more than I do.
I do my best, but I do not know more than you do, Michael.
I moved into, in 1998, a new startup, iBeam Broadcasting. We did streaming media in 1998.
I remember iBeam, yeah. Was that MCast? What were you doing? Multicast? What was iBeam doing?
Yeah, terrestrial and satellite distribution to the edge with a special box.
Interesting.
That we, created.
So you've been on the bleeding edge of this stuff for some time.
Well, and then I lost, $10 million when the tech.
In 2008, in the bust, or no, 1999, at the turn of the century.
2000.
Yeah,
99,000.
The big .com bubble burst.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
That was when I thought, I'm glad to be a journalist, not in the biz.
Guess what I did when I got out of that business?
What?
I got into real estate.
That's a business that never has booms or busts. That's a safe business.
I got work all the time. So the reason for my call, other than to, again, stroke your ego and say you do a great service.
Thank you. It's very nice, Michael. Thank you.
2004. So Windows 10 I've got multiple computers here, one for business. The other is a backup, and I've got dual drives running Windows 7 and 10. But the 2004 upgrade, stinks. I heard you talk about it before.
Yeah. The latest is if you've got an SSD, you might want to hold off because it could destroy your disk.
Well, unfortunately, I've got the home version when I purchased this last Dell, so it forced the upgrade. I had to go back and restore to the previous version, 1903. There's ways to block that update, which is typically 4s. You can throttle your bandwidth.
Yep.
Right.
If you say it's a metered connection, even if it's not, just say it's a metered connection. Microsoft very kindly, metered means simply that you have bandwidth caps or you pay for bandwidth. They're going to say, well, we're not going to make you download this 6 gigabyte download. So, okay.
I just want to make sure security updates, service updates.
Yeah, you're still getting service updates. In fact, you probably got the 130 patches last Patch Tuesday.
It's possible.
If you didn't, you do want those because those are. So that's the distinction, and I think Microsoft does not do a good job of making this clear. They have twice yearly feature updates. Those are the ones with the Fakatka names like 1903, 1909, and 2004. Yeah. Those are feature updates. They also have monthly, on the second Tuesday of the month, security updates. And interestingly, for the last 3 months, they've been record-setting. Each one has been more updates than the month before, setting new records for the number of fixes. A lot of those fixes, to their credit, are old. They're fixing old problems that they found, and that's fine. I would hope they would always do that. They only have an issue when they introduce new problems, and they do that as well.
Right.
And that's the bigger issue.
Do you know of any new major builds or minor builds that they're going to be doing? Because 2004 screwed up a lot of things.
Well, believe it or not, they haven't rolled out 2004 very widely yet. There's still a lot of people who don't have it. And guess what? Here comes 20H2. Remember, September is next month, like 2 days from now. So it would be 2009. They finally got rid of 2009. They got rid of that naming because they realized people are going to think I'm getting Windows 10 from 2009. That's a little too. Yeah. So they're going to call it 20H2. That's fine. Second half of 2020. It is still in beta, but it's very close to being released in the next month or so. So that will be. Pardon me?
Same bugs. Same bugs.
Same bugs? No, new bugs. All new bugs.
Great.
That's the beauty of this. Twice a year they introduce all new bugs. No, I'm being facetious, obviously. No, they'll fix any problems that are in 2004.
Yeah.
But, 2004 fixed all problems in 1909. Didn't mean it didn't introduce new ones.
Yeah,
I am starting to despair of Windows. I feel that maybe what we're seeing here is that this operating system is just too darn old and creaky and unpatchable, unfixable. And it's time for Microsoft to start over. In fact, there's evidence that they are with something they call Windows 10X. Now, this won't be out till next year, and it is severely stripped down. But one of the things they seem to be doing with this is containerizing all apps. In other words, putting every process, and because you're a technical guy, you might know about containers. It's a way of isolating one process from another, and this is a more secure way of operating. And I think it's their hope that they can, in effect, rebuild Windows without the problem Microsoft's always had, and it's a reasonable problem, is they don't want to leave any old software or hardware behind if they can avoid it. So as Windows has been updated, every single update, there's always a lot of code that is specific to certain programs to keep those programs running. And that means you've got just a mess. It's a pile of spaghetti. And I know you've seen.
I need it to
you got
the program.
Yeah. If you got to use it, you can defer successfully forever, but in 2 years it will be out of date, and then you won't get critical patches anymore. So 1803, which was going to be out of date, they actually said, we're going to let that go a little longer. That's the spring 2018 update. We're going to let that go a little longer because of COVID. But it was going to be end of life, which would have meant if you hadn't updated from 28 from too many numbers I've lost. I can't even. If you haven't updated from 1803, then you wouldn't be able to get critical patches. That'll eventually happen to 2004. I guess my only question is why bother? I just give up. It's so sad. It's so confusing. I've lost the thread of years. 1803 was, so that means 17. Well, there is no 1709, but if there were, is there? Maybe there is. That would be that anything prior to 1803, you're not getting critical updates. So the way it works is you get 2 years. Remember, it was 10 years when Windows 7 went at end of life. But for some reason with these feature packs, it's only 2 years.
Yeah.
So in theory, in 2 years, you'll have to do something.
So 20H2 is available.
Not yet. It's available on Insider for Windows Insiders now, but they're still in public beta.
Is that downloadable and tryable?
Yeah. If you turn on, look, this is going to be even less reliable than 2004.
I can put in a bunch of drives and
do it in virtualization, or you could test it for sure. So it's available now. You just go to Windows Update in the control panel, and you go to the advanced features, and you join an Insider ring. I would join the slow ring, not the fast ring. But because the fast ring is even more beta. But if you join the slow ring, you'll get 20H2 right now, in the next day or so, and then you can at least try it.
Yeah, see what happens.
I see no evidence it's going to be somehow magically better than 2004.
Probably not.
I mean, it hasn't worked yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, at least I've got two options. Appreciate your help and your service. And
Thank
again,
you, Michael.
26 years.
Good Lord. Not only that, I'm even more flattered by the fact that, here's a guy working at iBeam and Netcom. Here's a guy, Rand, who knows his stuff. And you're still listening to little old dummy Leo. Thank you. I'm honored.
You know more coding than I do.
I love coding.
5 languages.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. But obviously, a lot more about networking. So anytime I say something stupid, call.
Okay. Will do.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Michael. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
Our show today brought to you by Worldwide Technology. My good buddies over there in St. Louis. I love Worldwide Tech. We've been talking a lot about their Advanced Technology Center and their consulting services for enterprise technology. And, what we don't mention very often, in fact, we were very surprised when we went out to visit them in St. Louis in March to find out is they also do software development, app development. And they're really good at it. The thing that impressed me about Worldwide Technology is they pay a lot of attention to getting systems done right, getting them down right. So they're very much up to date on things like agile development, DevOps, that kind of thing. And when it comes to software development, they have created a team that does absolutely the best practices in state-of-the-art software development. Their software development experts use constant customer collaboration to develop custom solutions better than the ones you were thinking of when you began the project. Usually, I've done this before with other companies. Usually you start with high hopes and then you lower your expectations till you get the product. Not the same. This is different. You say, this is what we want to do, and then by constantly working with the team, Worldwide Technology can actually make an app that's better than you thought. Great software is so important. It can change lives, transform businesses, disrupt industries. WWT can solve your toughest challenges with its proven approach to agile software development. WWT delivers end-to-end digital experiences that blend best-in-class software development with the strengths, capabilities, and expertise of a multi-billion-dollar technology integrator. They know better than anyone how stuff works, how business works, and how to make your business work better. If you're looking for the rare partner who could deliver both strategy and execution for your next project, you couldn't find a better partner than WWT. I'll give you a couple of examples. These are things we saw when we were out there in St. Louis. They worked with a very well-known hospital group. The hospital group wanted an app that would help their caregivers work with patients and families. And so this whole idea was to create an app that would help patients and families better navigate what is sometimes a very complex care journey, right? And the idea was everything would be at their fingertips in this app, from travel arrangements to scheduling appointments to wayfinding in the hospital. Within a year of implementing and delivering this app, the customer started to notice significant improvements in reduction in preventable readmissions for patients because the aftercare was better. Fewer days spent in the hospital with virtual care saves the patient money, saves the hospital money. Even basic things like fewer septic shock deaths in remote treated patients. This app saved lives. That's pretty good. In fact, it won a Webby Award. It was so successful. Now you probably could figure it out. Another one we saw, one of America's favorite sandwich chains, really big in the Midwest, partnered with WWT. They're big. I mean, they have 1,500 stores. And what they wanted to do was create a point-of-sale app. It ended up being kind of state-of-the-art next generation in mobile kiosk point-of-sale and loyalty enhancements. The funny thing is they did this before COVID. Once COVID hit, they were in a really great position because they had this already in place, this incredible app. It scales. It was designed to scale with the company's growth, new stores opening, and they've really helped the company deliver best-in-class service. And man, the timing was right. WWT worked with a large grocery store. We saw this one too, another well-known grocery store. To improve its customer experience, they created a custom app, a loyalty program, and enhanced signage. It was all part of the process, and Worldwide Technology helped the chain achieve its 2- and 3-year goals in less than a year. It is scary. The build or buy decision is tough, and if you decide to build, you want a partner that really knows what it's doing and has been there before and can guide you. Look, you know what your customers need, you know what your business needs, but you need a partner that knows business, has a development process that's proven and really works, and can help you bring all of this to fruition. And often it is better than what you'd ever imagined. Exceeds your expectations. And your customers, by the way, right? They're true agile software development from planning to ideation to delivery. They support the DevOps model that combines people, processes, and technologies to help your team continually deliver services and value to your customers with speed, stability, and availability. Of course, containers they know everything there's to know because that's cutting-edge technology, and they are on the cutting edge. Cloud-native technologies and best practices that help you rapidly create services that can scale and perform. So it's not just mobile apps. It can be containerized apps. It can be cloud apps. It can be SaaS. They do it all. Solve your toughest challenges with the software experts at WWT. They have the experience, the discipline, and the track record to help you develop custom software solutions that will change your business. Transform your business and deliver great experiences for your customers through WWT's wide range of software services. Just one more thing that makes WWT the trusted partner and has been for more than a decade for so many people. If you're in enterprise, you need WWT. Go WWT.com/twit1 Find out more, wwt.com/twit1. Worldwide technology, delivering business outcomes and modernizing IT infrastructure all over the world. Silicon Valley in St. Louis, wwt.com/twit1. These guys are great. And thank you, WWT, for your support for us. We really appreciate it. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, time once again to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, everything with tech. That's what I do. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada, or actually you can call from anywhere in the world if you Skype out. It should be a toll-free call. 8888 Ask Leo. I put everything we talk about. Actually, I don't do anything. My team puts everything I talk about up on our website, techguylabs.com. Team chiefly being James DeRuvo, who's writing as I speak. He's our scribe. And we put it up there so you don't have to remember anything. It's where I can put extra links. It's where you can respond to. There's commenting. And it's all free. There's no sign up. Just go to techguylabs.com. Every show we've done is up there. 1,723 shows with answers, questions, all of that. techguylabs.com. I shouldn't have said this. I apologize. And I hope I didn't scare you. We were talking about Windows 10 2004, the latest update, which has rolled out for the last few months to Windows 10 users. It's a feature update. And it's introduced a number of bugs, and I mentioned the SSD bug. And I should really clarify this because I didn't mean to scare you. And people probably did see some pretty scary headlines because I think some tech blogs overstated the problem. But it's a dopey bug. It's a dopey bug. Microsoft has started fixing it. They'd had it before, which is weird, and it somehow got back into 2004. And the bug is that every time you reboot the computer, it executes a defrag on your hard drive, which is really dumb. Because, first of all, it makes no sense to defrag hard drives these days. That's something back from Windows 95. Happy birthday, by the way, 25 years old this week. Defragging is a very limited use these days, especially if you're on a solid-state drive. Although it's kind of interesting because it turns out, because defragging doesn't even make sense on a drive that is random access, that's your solid-state drive. It doesn't get fragmented. It is fragmented. It doesn't matter. There's zero access time on a solid-state drive. So, the reason you would defrag a spinning drive is to reduce access times, but there's no point. When it's zero, there's nothing lower than zero. But Microsoft did an interesting thing with defrag. I'm not sure I think this is such a good idea, but when the defrag program sees it's on a solid-state drive, it says, oh, forget defragging. We're going to do something called trim. Trim is something also less needed probably than it used to be. But this was especially a problem in the early days of solid-state drives. After a while, they slowed down from use. And it's complicated. The reason they slowed down wasn't because they become fragmented, but it had to do with the way data was, cells were released after deletions, things like that. It's a complicated issue. And to solve this problem, Intel and others who made these solid-state drives created trim, which cleans it all up. It does garbage collection on the solid-state drive. And it's probably not a bad idea to run trim once in a while. In fact, our advice for a while was, you don't need defragging on a solid-state drive, but because Microsoft put trim into defragging, you should do trim, every few months, or if you notice your drive's a little slow. So just run the defragger, which was weird, but it worked. Windows 10 2004 shipped with a problem. Little one, the system stopped recording the time since the solid-state drive had last been defragged. In effect, it said, defrag it anytime you get a chance. So whenever you reboot, the OS defrags, slows down the boot process, and potentially puts more wear on the SSD. And that's why some tech blogs said it's wearing out your solid-state drive faster than it ought to. Truth is, unless you reboot 10 times a day, it's probably not going to be a big deal. It's just dopey. It's a dumb mistake. Microsoft discovered it. They'd done it once before. They discovered it again. When a bug comes back, it's called a regression. They regressed, and the bug was back, and then now they fixed it. So you should get an update. You probably did get an update. Let me see which update fixed it. Oh, no, it hasn't happened yet. But sometime soon, Microsoft will push out an update that'll, once again, keep track of when it last was defragged. I'm sorry I even had to go into this. You will see a headline that says, Windows 10 2004 bad for your SSD. It is minorly perhaps bad to your SSD, not particularly, and it will be fixed. But it's just dumb. It's just an example of introducing new problems for no good reason. No good reason. Anyway, I apologize. I brought it up, so I had to explain it because I didn't want to leave you hanging with this notion that maybe 2004 would be bad for your SSD. It may be slightly, but not significantly. Mary in Torrance, California is next. Hi, Mary. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Okay, this is your day to talk to people from Torrance and also help people with their mothers and mothers-in-law.
I love it. I'm glad to do it. What can I do for you, Mary?
Okay. My mother-in-law is about to turn 98.
Wow, that's great. Wow.
It's a wonderful, and she's brilliant, and everything about her is perfect, except she has macular degeneration, and she is almost at the verge of being totally blind. So we're trying this, and now, we're in California, and she's in New York.
Yeah.
So, getting there to help her out is not going to happen soon. So, first of all, I have to tell you, my best friend in New York, Barbara, has followed you for about 10 years. I hit her with this problem, and this is the first one that she couldn't come up. She said, no, this one you have to ask Leo.
Call Leo.
Yeah.
Call Leo. Call Leo.
She loves you. She falls asleep with you every night. She says your voice just lulls her off into dreamland.
Oh, well, I'm honored. That's great. Thank you.
We've been researching the phone. We actually even bought one of the phones, and every one of them had a problem. And we also called Lighthouse. We called.
Oh yeah, this is all the things I would recommend. So you want big numbers, obviously, but
we want big numbers.
Yeah.
We want the keypad to be the storage place for the speed dial numbers, and the worst one that we're running into problems with is we can't find one with a built-in message machine. She's brilliant, but there's not smart enough to be able to figure out how to connect to a telephone.
Yeah. So most of the time, as you probably know, most of the time when you get a phone from a carrier like T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, they have their own voicemail service.
Right.
And there's, in fact, on any phone with a keyboard, one of the keys, the one key, will have a little tape recording icon on it, the answering machine icon. You press and hold the one, it'll go to her voicemail. So that's a function not of the phone, but of the company that you get the service from. But all of them should offer that.
That is a problem, Leo, because I can't get access to her account to set up the machine. And my girlfriend, Mary, has a telephone which has a standalone answering machine, part of the instrument itself.
Oh, so you don't want you don't want a cell phone, you want a phone.
What we want is a landline.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Built-in answering machine.
I get it.
Large buttons, and preferably if the large buttons can be programmable for dialing. And as you said, number one usually is the cell phone, and number 9 is usually the the helpline. But she has a cell phone, and she is familiar with touching a number 2 to call.
Oh, okay.
Siri.
Oh, okay.
And that same thing needs to be on a landline.
I misunderstood. I thought it was a cell phone. So, and by the way, it's really important for seniors, if possible, to have a landline that doesn't power itself off the electricity, because you may remember that for a long time with the phone company, if you had like a Princess phone that you just plugged into the wall, even when the power went out, the phone still worked. And in emergency situations, that's a big deal, especially for somebody who's 98. Is she at a home, or she must be in a?
She lives in a cradle to death home.
Good.
She is independent on her own.
Oh, that's so amazing.
The place that she lives has a generator which kicks online.
Oh, good. So this is not an issue, and there's people around who can help her if something happens. So she
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely, there is. But the biggest difficulty is giving her the confidence that she needs when she wants to call Mary. Press number 2, and the phone rings. And if Mary calls Mom and can't talk to her, there's a message, and she can press number message, and the phone talks to her and says, hi, Mom, I missed your call.
So there are a couple of companies that make phones with big buttons. Which I think is what you want, right? You want a really big button.
That's correct.
Yeah. There's actually one called Big Button. And it's a big button phone with answering machine. Hallelujah.
Oh, wow.
It has a big screen on it, so that also will help her be able to see. Because when she presses 2, the speed dial, it'll say, "You're calling Mary," on the screen.
And that's the issue, in that I have found many phones which have 2 of the 3 necessary components: a big screen, a big button, a answer machine integral to the device, and the keypad programming for individual numbers. And it doesn't really have to be a keypad. I've seen some phones that have 12 separate programmable buttons, and I can teach her.
That would even be better, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would be better, and I can teach her to do that on the phone. But
yeah.
It's the message machine that seems to be the biggest.
AT&T sells one. They call the big button phone from AT&T. It's a low vision corded phone with an answering machine, 25-minute record time, speaker phone, which I think is also nice.
Yes.
The ringer has a volume control. You can put it on the desk or put it on the wall. Now you can buy that direct from AT&T. She doesn't have to be an AT&T phone customer to use the phone. It's just that they make this phone.
I think she has. I think her provider is Comcast.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, yeah, no, that won't matter because she'll still have an RJ.
That's correct. It does.
45 jack there for her.
It does. That's correct.
There's a number of companies that do this particular thing, but I think that this AT&T big button looks exactly like what you want. So I'd take a look at that. I'm looking at a site called Independent Living Aids at independentliving.com.
Okay.
And they have a number of large number phones. They even have phones, which I like, with pictures on them.
Yes, I've seen those. Those are separate dialing, and they have 6.
They have a screen with people's faces, and she can touch the face, and it'll call them.
Right. The only issue is that being as blind as she is, I'm not.
That's
sure
not useful. That I think is more for people who are having cognitive issues more than her.
Agree.
She sounds like she's pretty smart. There's also one called. It does not have an answering machine, but the Clarity is for blind people with macular degeneration. It has Braille as well as very large numbers. But I don't
looked at that. I did look at that. They're inch and an eighth numbers.
Yeah, they're giant.
Absolutely superb. But the difficulty therein lies with no answering machine. And again, I tried to talk to Comcast and ask them, I am her son. Can I please have access to understand whether or not she can have caller ID and answering machine? And the answer is no. It has to come from your mother, and she doesn't understand it. And it's
at some point she's gonna have to give you kind of power of attorney for this kind of stuff. I would look at this AT&T big button phone because it does seem to have all the features you want, and because it's from AT&T. I think that's a good place to start. I mean, it's not some mystery company that makes this. Let me see if I can see them. Yeah, it's $32 on Amazon. I think this is it. It's the CL4940. You might take a look at that. Pretty big buttons, pretty big screen, answering machine built in, speed dial. I think this might do what you want to do. And I'm sorry that I'm not an expert in this, but that's the best I can do. I'm sorry I didn't understand it was a landline. That's a different matter entirely. Yeah. Our show today brought to you, a lot of people in the chat room mentioning the Jitterbug, which is a great phone for cell phone for older folks, but we wanted a landline in this case. So that's kind of an odd thing. People don't seem to be, young people aren't buying landlines anymore, are they? I don't think so. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Papa got a same old bag. Same old bag. It hasn't changed at all. Leslie, Riverside, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I've just been hacked really, really bad, and my identity's stolen, my phone's hacked, my Verizon account, phone calls aren't the phone calls I make. Every device I get gets hacked again. So I'm trying to...
How do you know you're hacked?
Well, I called Apple on the 28th of June, and I remotely let them in my computer.
Oh, that wasn't Apple.
You're right. It wasn't Apple.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Oh. Yeah, so I'm so
Where did you get the number from? Did you Google it?
No, I called the 1-800-MY-APPLE. They were just, I think they may have hacked me before.
No, your 1-800-MY-APPLE won't hack you.
Yeah, it didn't. And I mean, it did.
So, but how are they re-hacking you? Are you the target? Do you have a ex-boyfriend who doesn't like you, or somebody make some enemies somewhere? Or?
No, well, I don't know
because usually hackers don't. They're drive-bys. They're not focused on one person and keep hacking them unless they have an axe to grind.
Well, I have an email that has information on a large amount of money coming to me. That's the only thing I can think. Now that
everybody has that email. That's no sign of anything, and that's useless. Don't use that to do anything.
I swear. I don't.
I have this guy. I just got this. His what was it? He's dying without any kids, and he's got, I think, $30 million, and he's just decided, I don't know why, I guess he likes me, to make me his heir. Oh, man. Don't buy it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hang on, I'll help you off the air.
I think.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. So.
Okay.
I had to take a break.
Okay.
So what makes you think you're hacked, I guess, is still the question.
Well, when I was in my Apple ID with this Apple person on my computer, and they hung up on me, and I thought, no way, this is not happening. I'm going to get hacked. Like, I felt like it.
Yeah.
So I grabbed my phone,
yeah,
and I signed into my Apple ID, and there was a phone already signed into my Apple ID called Dude. And I tried.
That's a good sign. Password. You know what? That is a good sign that you were hacked. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it asked for their password to their phone.
Oh,
and
man.
I locked out of my business Apple ID.
Oh, yeah.
Every email has been hacked. I don't have any emails left. And my phone and devices are all hacked. Every device I get is hacked. My Wells Fargo is completely hacked. I had like 24 charges from Apple. And they dropped me. They just quit my account and told me to leave. They won't even help me. I've been 19 years with them. And I have tons of fraud on there. It's awful. It's so awful. So I'm trying to figure out what the best time I can spend with you is. I think trying to get a device that they don't know that I have.
Yes. That's right. I mean? That's right. So the process involves first figuring out, well, what are the symptoms? And then second, sometimes from that, you could figure out how they're getting in. And then what's most important is if you're going to avoid this starting from scratch so you don't give them any avenue from the old devices into the new device. So, for instance, Tell me are you using a computer?
I have a Mac and then I had an Apple iPhone.
Okay. So you can wipe both of those completely so that they're like they just came home from the factory. There will be nothing left of the hack, of your information, or of anything. And then pretend you didn't ever have any Apple account and start from scratch. Create a new iCloud account. Sign into that with your phone. Obviously you need to create a new bank account. Don't use the same passwords. Don't use any of the same information. Get a new phone number. Get a phone number. Put a PIN on your phone account when you get your new cell phone from AT&T or whoever. Tell them, look, I've had identity fraud in the past, so I need you to put a PIN on my account so that nobody can call in and impersonate me. In other words, you want to start in a clean room environment, completely unattached to anything you did before. And then there's no way they could get in, right? Because you've erased everything completely, so there's no trace of them left. You can still use your phone and computer, but you have to erase the drives, reset the phone, that's in the settings, and set up a brand new Apple ID. And set up new everything. Use, unique passwords on each thing because, you don't want to reuse the password because then if they get it once, they'll get into other stuff. Completely wipe everything. I wish there were somewhere you could go that would help you with this. I don't know who that is. We had a sponsor, LifeLock, that was the deal. You would essentially, what you're really buying is help if it should happen to you. So you might call LifeLock and say, hey, what can I do? I can't, unfortunately, I don't have the time to really go through everything you should do. But I think if you start from scratch, you'll want to make sure any data that you have on your iCloud or anywhere is saved somewhere safe. Photos, documents. Put them on a hard drive somewhere, and so that you don't lose them because you're going to lose everything on the cloud. Well, this is an interesting challenge. How would you start from scratch? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. What a problem. I feel so bad for Leslie. I'm trying to think. If you've been hacked, what the best process would be to, especially if they keep after you, and at this point, somebody got into your system, knows a lot about you. You should presume everything's been compromised. So you want to start from scratch. So my advice to Leslie is wipe out everything, right? You need a new bank account. Start from scratch. Don't reuse anything. Not the same password. Create new accounts on Google. Create a new account on Apple. New passwords for those. With your phone, get rid of your old phone number and get a new SIM. Go to the phone company. When you do that, when you go to this phone store and say, I need a new SIM, I've been hacked. Say, my identity was stolen and I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I want to put a PIN on my account so that without that PIN, because one of the things people do is they steal your phone number. Is often probably what happened. They often will do this. They'll in effect, it's called SIM jacking. They'll steal your phone number by getting the phone company to give them a new SIM. So start with a brand new number. I know this is a pain because nobody's going to be able to reach you. Boy, it's kind of a mess. You want to go, of course, to all the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and put a credit freeze on. That means nobody can get credit in your name using information they got from you. Credit freeze is very important. And by the way, they don't charge anymore for that. They used to. They used to make it expensive to freeze and even more expensive to unfreeze, but they can't do that anymore. Law was passed to prevent that. So put a credit freeze on your accounts. So, you'll have to unfreeze it when you want to get a new credit card or open a new bank account. But better that than letting the bad guy have access. Yikes. Yikes is yikes. I don't think Apple did it, but I don't know how it happened. I really don't. Elliot, Yorba Linda, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Elliot.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just bought a HP NV360 laptop.
Nice. Those are nice.
It is very nice.
Yeah. I'm kind of jealous.
And
I envy your envy.
Well, I held my other computer for 10 years.
Yeah,
so
good. So you're frugal. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I've always used Microsoft Security. You know, it comes with
the Security Essentials. Yeah.
Right. I've always used that.
You don't need it anymore. It comes with Windows 10. It'll be on your Envy.
Right. It's in there.
Yep.
But the computer, when I purchased it, came when I activated it
with McAfee.
Actually,
Norton.
Norton. It was Norton.
It's always one of the two. Yeah, just delete all that. You don't need it. HP.
Great. That's what I did.
Yeah, HP. And a lot of companies do this. HP was notorious for doing it. They make money on it. They tell Norton, hey, for $10, we'll put your system on there, and you probably have a new customer. Norton says that's a good deal. So that's one of the ways they get make more money and can charge less for the computer. It was the computer prices have plummeted, but I recommend taking all of that stuff off. You don't need an antivirus on Windows 10. It comes with the Defender, which is absolutely fine. It's all you need.
Great.
And you don't need the expensive McAfee or Norton. Now, one thing I would do is go to the Symantec site for Norton. Actually, I don't know if Symantec owns them anymore. I don't think they do. I think it's LifeLock owns them. Anyway, whoever owns them, maybe Symantec owns LifeLock. It's all confusing. But you could Google Norton uninstaller, because all the antiviruses offer stand-alone uninstallers that work better than the one that comes with the app, because they don't want a bad guy to be able to uninstall the antivirus too easily. So it's better using a third-party uninstaller that you can run. Not a third-party, a standalone. It comes from Norton, but it's a standalone uninstaller. That'll get rid of any traces of that. You don't want any trace of that.
Okay, great.
And then you might take advantage of something. My friend Steve Gibson, who does our Security Now show, has been looking for a program that will get rid of the junk that comes with Microsoft Windows, a dejunkifier, if you will. And there has been one for a long time that was out called, I don't want to say the name, but it was kind of like dejunkifier. He tried it. He says it doesn't do a great job. You can do it by hand, but he was looking for something that he could give people an automated system. And he found something called O&O App Buster. So I'd take a look at that. It's at oo-software.com. And the idea is it will uninstall all the hidden apps, the pre-installed apps, third-party apps. It cleans up your computer from all the, it's trialware is what we call it. It cleans it all up.
Okay.
So if you want to go even farther than just taking the Norton off, oo-software.com. And it's free, by the way.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate that. I was having a few sleepless nights wondering.
Well, no, nothing to lose sleep over, but yeah, you don't need it. And, running two antiviruses is generally not a good idea. My problem with antivirus, look, anything you install on your computer, it's good to keep this in mind. Anything additional you put on your computer or your phone potentially has the possibility of slowing it down, making it work less reliably, and worst case, letting bad guys in because of a flaw in programming. So that's always the risk. That's why installing as little as possible is always a good idea. And especially when it comes to antiviruses, because security software like antiviruses, in order to work well, has to really put its hooks deep into the operating system. They have access to places in the operating system normal programs don't have access to. So if there's ever a problem with these, it's even worse. So I am always of the opinion you should not install third-party antiviruses. It has the property all programs have of just potentially being a problem, even more so because of the way antiviruses work. So I just get rid of it.
Okay. Great.
My pleasure.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Take care. And I'm glad I could plug this OO App Buster. Or maybe it's OO. I don't know if it's OO App Buster or OO App Buster, but it's from O&O Software. And I haven't tried it because I don't use Windows, but my friend Steve Gibson recommended it, and that's good enough for me. He certainly is a smart guy. It's essentially a batch uninstaller that gets rid of all of the extra stuff. You know, when you install Windows 10 these days, you get a lot of stuff you don't want. And not just from the manufacturer. Yeah, HP or Dell or Lenovo, they'll install, trialware of antiviruses and things. But Microsoft itself installs silly games. I don't need Candy Crush, man. I don't want it. They install a lot of stuff you just don't need. Sometimes it's the program. Most of the time it's just a little button that'll install the program. Of course, if you accidentally click it, then the program gets installed. So I like removing all of that stuff. I just think getting rid of it is a good idea. Don't get overzealous. You want to leave the Microsoft Store on there. But you can remove a lot of the things, so this will let you remove things like mail and calendar. I mean, you can remove things you might want, but it's just, so, go through it and only remove the things you don't want. But it's nice to have this. Free. Doesn't get installed itself. It'll run off a USB key from OO-software. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I love getting Dick DeBartolo on our show because it gives us an excuse once a week to play disco. Dickie D is Mad Magazine's maddest writer for many years, but he's also our Gizmo wizard. We call him our Giz Wiz, and he brings us great joy each week with a gadget of the week. Tell us what you got this week, Mr. Dick D.
Okay, so I got a little email from Amazon that I should look at the new 2020 solar-powered, hand-cranked emergency radio.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about that new Halo band. Did you see that?
No.
From Amazon? It tells you if you're acting cranky.
Yes, I did see that.
It's a new smart band. It does fitness, sleep tracking, but it also apparently is always listening, and it will say, you sound a little angry right now.
Yeah, I know.
Take a breath.
I had one and I broke it. I said, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. And I shattered it.
So I did get on the, you have to get on the waiting list for it. I asked to get on the waiting list. So if I get it, I will send it to you.
Oh, okay.
To replace
I want when you dial and it makes you that mood. You just,
can I be angry today?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to distract.
No, that's okay. So I obviously I heard a 2020 version, so I sent for this solar radio. Actually, it's quite clever. It's very small.
This is a good thing to have if you have a hurricane.
Yes.
Power outage. Yeah.
Yes, and it has a couple of features that I've never seen on one of these little radios. For example, the solar panel can flip up, and it becomes an LED area light.
Oh.
But you can also click it over to automatic. So, like, if you're camping out, when you get up, the area light will come on. It'll stay on as long as you're moving around. And then when you get back into your sleeping bag, it waits 30 seconds and shuts off. So that's
of course, if you're in your sleeping bag and it comes on, stay in the sleeping bag.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. They have a button for that.
What? It's the bear button?
One I've seen. It has an SOS button.
Oh.
That will sound off a shrieking alarm and blink the lights. It has 3 forward lights, 3 forward flashing light strobe if you want it, and then a small area light, and then a piercing forward spotlight.
This thing looks much bigger on the box.
Exactly. When I got
it isn't that
thought,
big.
Wait a minute. Is this the box? Is this the thing that I ordered?
It's kind of a little thing. It's like a walkie-talkie size.
Yeah, exactly. It's about 6 inches long. The nice thing is the crank handle is 5 inches long and very smooth. So they said
so the crank is how you would power it up if there's no sun.
One of the ways. Yeah. Exactly. You have solar, you have crank, it has USB charging in, it has USB charging out, it has a 4,000 milliamp battery so you can power your phone with it. It has the little SOS thing, 7 weather bands. And I only get one weather band on this, but I assume it's the one I want because I was listening to the marine forecast for the Hudson River.
Okay.
So yeah,
one of the weather bands will probably be right for you.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And when I bought it, it was $37. And I don't know if this afternoon, just before the show, I went on Amazon and looked. It seems to be down to like $32.50.
Yeah, it's not very expensive. Yeah.
So, and it got like 4.7 stars from more than 600 people.
I'm going to guess the size of that solar panel, it's not going to charge up too fast.
No, it is not an overwhelming size.
Yeah.
I think that's why they have the crank, and they also have you can charge it via USB.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. $32. It's good for your emergency kit. I actually, because of the fires, I got an emergency kit. You were the first to tell me about those things. Remember we had the Ready kit, the backpack?
Oh, yeah, the backpack that has everything ready to go.
Yeah,
yes.
Then my son, who was still in high school at the time, took everything out and stole the backpack because it was a nice backpack. This time I have it's like a rolling duffel bag with enough supplies for a family of 4 for like a week. So, and we keep that. I got 2 of them. I keep one in my trunk of my car and one at the house. Because with earthquakes, fires, nowadays, hurricanes and tornadoes, it's probably a good idea to be prepared. You'd be better off being prepared.
That's a great thing to have. Yeah. I'm glad that you realized Henry had emptied it and you didn't run out going, we got the bag.
It's so light. I thought there was more in here.
Wait a minute. There's 5 dirty T-shirts.
I had bought 4 Ready kits. One for each member of the family, but he went through all 4 in 4 years of high school. Yeah, he went, Dad, I want a new one for the new school year. So I went in the garage, and there's all this like ready-to-eat water kits and meals on the ground. Mylar blankets. They were bright orange. I thought nobody's going to want to steal this, but I think he liked the idea.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, we'll get one of these and throw it in there.
But you should. Yeah, this would be perfect if you put with a flashlight and other things. This is kind of like the flashlight, though. This is good.
Excellent.
And if you get any bears, it'll let you know.
Yes,
it'll light up
you'll
bright.
let them know.
Yeah,
that you show them that radio,
or ask them to help and crank it.
Yeah,
I hear bears are very good at that. They'll sit there. They're cranky. They'll sit there all day.
I've their album, The Cranky Bears. They're wonderful.
Dick DeBartolo is Mad's maddest writer. You can find him at gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. In fact, there's a big button that says the Gizwiz visits the tech guy. You'll find the link to this special emergency radio there, and all the other things he's mentioned on the show and other shows like World News Now on ABC. You'll also, if you click the button that says "What the heck is it?" have a chance to play for an autographed copy of Mad Magazine, the October issue.
Just a few days more.
Yeah. It ends on Monday, right? So
Monday midnight.
Quickly go to gizwiz.biz and see if I can identify that close-up picture of a gizmo or a gadget for your chance to win an autographed copy of Mad. All the rules are online there at gizwiz.biz. Dick also does a great podcast with Chad Johnson. Now in its 15 years or something like that?
In February of 2021, 15 years. A lot of that.
Dick, we were so young when we started.
Oh my gosh, I know. I remember you said, "Can you do it like at 10 at night?" And I said, "I have to ask my mother."
Past my bedtime. Gizwiz.tv for that podcast.
Thank you.
Dick, it's been an honor and a privilege to be working with you I can't believe it's been 15 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, soon. And the same, pal.
Yeah.
We get along really good.
It really has been more than that because we started together on the Screensavers. You were doing gadgets on the TV show. So it's been probably closer to 20 years.
Yeah. And I went up to Canada for a while. Oh, yeah.
They found you, though, I think, and brought you back. But, these things happen. Thanks. We're glad you're back from Canada. Okay. Thank you, Dick.
See you next week.
See you next week. Thank you so much to Professor Laura, our hurricane of a music director. She plays all the hits, conducting the Tech Guy Orchestra each week. Thanks also to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. She's the one who answers your call, grooms you, pastes down that cowlick so you can be ready for your appearance on national radio. Most of all, though, I owe you a heck of a lot of thanks. I really appreciate your listening. If you called in, thanks for calling. I hope I helped you a little bit. And don't forget, after the show, the party continues at techguylabs.com all week long. No charge, no sign up. We'll see you there if you have any questions. techguylabs.com. I'm Leo Laporte. I'm your tech guy. I'll see you next time. Have a safe and happy Geek Week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.